Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 3.
Oh, three.
Three.
All right.
Three. I'm off the screen. Hello, 3. So, number 3. I want to thank you guys for watching so far. I do want to mention, shout out one time at the beginning, shout out the haventabletop.com. Use promo code TEAMACG for 10% off all Flesh and Blood singles. Already competitively priced. Super good deal there. And, we're not going to make you wait very long. We already have the spoilers pulled up. We're going to be talking spoilers.
Yeah, all like 80 of them that happened in the past 48 hours. I think.
So many. Hey, we have another follow. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Duck. Duck, thank you.
Duck Solution or something. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got to put the alert above the brow. There we go. Now I can see it. But thank you. Yeah, we're going to be talking all things spoilers, all things Dynasty. Lots of cards coming out.
Lots of praise, lots of trash talking.
Yeah,
so
it's going back and forth. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited about the spoilers so far. For the most part, there's some cards that have been kind of controversial. I think because of like the rarity that they are. But we're gonna get to that. You see, we already have February pulled up. We're gonna be going through all the spoilers that are new. We're gonna be going in set order as opposed to like in the order they were spoiled or anything like that. But yeah, I'm super excited. So we'll also see what cards we're still missing, if there's anything we were hoping for. But we have a lot to get into. So I guess we're going to start right. We're going to get right into it. And we're going to start with the new Ash cards that that Dromai got.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we don't have to go over each one, but we can go over each. The 3 that she did get, which the 3 are Dust from the Golden Plains, Dust from the Red Desert, and Dust from the Shadow Crypts. Now, they all do the same thing, which is give a specific dragon of Dromai's. She's able to make the dragon that she could normally make, but they not remove Phantasm, but they don't give Phantasm to those specific dragons. So, Dust from the Golden Plains is the one for Thamai.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the one that probably gets played the least. However, that art is like
I was gonna
amazing.
say, no matter which dragon it is, all 3 of them. I don't know if we're covering all 3 of those right now. I mean, we might as well. But my favorite one was the last one. The Shadow is like the Crypts.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah. That's my favorite one. But they all look amazing.
I think. You know what's funny? I actually didn't even get to really see this artwork. I really like the I don't even know what's going on here other than this is like some kind of like tomb or it's a crypt, obviously. Like,
well, it says something about the monastery in the flavor text.
Yeah, where flesh finds a new form.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. But I think the more important thing about this card is it gives Necria. It makes Necria not have Phantasm, which is insane. I mean, honestly, like the biggest thing about Necria, everyone was like, "Oh, it's got a big body, right? It's a 4/7." Necria is really strong as a dragon, but if you ever attack with Necria and you're not if you're not absolutely sure that your opponent doesn't have a way to pop or has a way to pop Phantasm, Necria is kind of not the greatest. You want them to have to try to. Oh, and another thing this does is even if they want to kill it, they have to like try to kill it. Like they have to put attacks into it.
Right, yeah.
Which triggers Necria, which gets you all that extra Ash. And then, of course, it's still a 4/7 every time it attacks. So, yeah, I think this is great.
No, yeah, and...
I'm going to get mine.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, I know I know that was a big thing, like, especially myself, I was side decking with 6 attacks to deal with that, but if I can't just pop it, now it's like... Now I really have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Now, what is the on-hit effect of Necria?
So Necria is a 4/7, and her on-hit effect says, whenever she is deals or is dealt damage, put a -1 health counter on it and create an Ash token.
Okay.
So it's an Ash generator when she actually gets to do what she wants to do, right? Because a lot of the time, she just gets popped whenever you try to attack with it. So.
Okay. And what was the Red Sands one?
So the Red Sands is Vincerakai, which is also kind of interesting on its own. So, I mean, it's, again, one of the cool things about these Ashes, too, is that the Ash can... you can still make any dragon with it, right? It doesn't have to be Vincerakai. It just has Phantasm if you choose to make another dragon with it.
Okay.
So I mean that's important to note. Also, these ashes block for 3, and they are actions to put them on the field, so it does eat an action point. But Vincerikai not having Phantasm is pretty crazy. I mean, yes, it only has 1 health, so against anything that can attack it on your turn, something that can deal damage specifically to Vincerikai, you don't really want to play Vincerikai anyway, so you're not going to be doing that. But against things that want to really pop your dragons, that are trying to get around that 6 damage that's coming at them, potentially 9 damage, a lot of times they'll just throw like a big beefy boy at it and just pop Vincerikai. Right. And this makes it so they actually have to attack it. And a lot of times too, those big classes that want to pop it with something big, they don't have efficient ways to deal 1 damage, right? It's not usually like a ninja doing that, right? I mean, ninjas will sometimes try to like tech in stuff, but these spoilers were all crazy. Yeah.
There's something to say that I don't know. I tend to use myself as an example just because it's the easiest way to apply it in the situation. But let's say I'm sideboarding a 6 attack to pop one of these.
Yeah.
And now that I can't, now I'm stuck with a card that normally I wouldn't play because I would be using it to pop, and now I'm like, great, now what do I do with this?
Yeah, you sided it on, like, that's a good point, is you have the really inefficient attack in your hand, something like Fandol's Fighting Spirit has merit in some ways, but as just like a good attack, but I mean...
I probably wasn't planning on pitching 3 to
swing just to Fandol's Fighting Spirit.
So, again, I also really like the concept of Dromai. I'm assuming she uses this specific dust to like enchant it or like give it a special.
Oh, it's very flavorful. So, like she like went out and she has like the different dust from like around the globe or whatever.
Yeah,
and she was like collecting it.
She was getting ready for raid, and she needed her raid mats. So she's like, "Great, I got to go here to get red dust. I have to go to the crypt to get I don't know, plague bloom. What is that? What it was called in WoW? That was
something like that. Yeah, that is a material.
So something like that.
Lotus was actually Black Lotus. Funny enough.
Oh yeah,
that was like the big thing in Classic. That was like super difficult to have to farm.
Mm-hmm.
That's another follow. Thank you. So yeah, I think the Ash is really interesting, and I think it gives Dromai a really interesting play pattern. I hope they do more of this in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think I was wondering what they would get. James White was hinting at there's hidden dragons, but I wasn't expecting something like this, and I really like it. It just adds a bunch of new, which this set has plenty of. A lot of specific ways to flavor out the deck, or counterplay certain decks. But
so then we're gonna jump pretty quickly over to Brute and the Brute cards that came out, and I think. If you're a Brute player, specifically if you're Rhinar, I think you're really happy with this set.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's done a lot of crazy things. So we're going to start with Savage Beatdown. So Savage Beatdown is a card... Rock. Yeah, that's been the big meme. But Rock is already... We talked about Rock. Yeah. I mean, I think Rock's interesting. And the Marvel looks awesome.
It may be like one of the MVP cards. As far as like the Facebook group goes, a lot of memes. But, I mean, I really like it. But, yeah...
yeah. Let's go into Savage Beatdown. So Savage Beatdown says, play Savage Beatdown only if you've discarded a card with 6 or more attack this turn. As an additional cost to play Savage Beatdown, discard a random card. If the discarded card has 6 or more attack, Savage Beatdown has +6 power. So that means Savage Beatdown, when you play it not efficiently, but like to its maximum value, it's 12 attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 12. And on a Blood Rush Bella turn, it's a 14.
And you are naturally intimidating. So
yeah, you've discarded 2 6s.
Yeah. So now, I hope you have a defense reaction in Arsenal. Or else you're just getting... look at this poor guy in the bottom left here. Like, half his face.
He's not having a good time.
He just got bojangled. No, I really like it. I do... And it's kind of the same thing with a lot of these Brute cards. There is some feedback from players that are like, no, this feeds into the random element of Brute, so like you can't count on it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like now, it wasn't this card. I think was it this card where it's like now when you discard, you draw. So you're just like cycling through them, and I can imagine plays where you're quadruple intimidating someone, and you're just like, if you're at the last 25% of your health, you're just getting splattered. Like that's it.
No, and it's a game finisher. I definitely agree, especially in Blitz. The one thing I will say, at first read, it does have like a lot of conditional text on it, and a lot of times with conditional text, that's not great, right? So first condition, you have to have already discarded a 6 this turn. Then, in order for it to not be terrible, right? Because even if you've discarded a 6, you still have to discard another 6. Otherwise, this is just a 3 for 6 with a condition.
Yep.
Which is not very good. That's not where you want to be in Brute. So you need to have another 6 to discard. You need to have the 3 resources to pay for this, right? So you've played something that made you discard a 6. You've attacked with this, costing 3, and you discarded another card, right? So that's a lot, but we actually have some cards that will kind of help us with that. I'm going to skip Skullcrack, even though that will help us with that a little bit, but we're going to go into Berserk. Berserk helps you a lot with this because it says until end of turn, whenever you discard a random card with 6 or more attack. This is the one you were talking about. Yeah. Banish it. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. If it has 6 or more attack, draw a card. And one thing to note, this card is constant. Like once you play it, it's for the rest of the turn. Anytime you do it, you draw a card.
So it's like a field effect, I guess you could.
It's like a persistent effect.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I'm starting to notice because this is yellow, and there's been more yellows, but most of the deck now you should reliably reveal a 6, or when you're doing it. So the variant is starting to not just be a complete crapshoot. Now, a question I have is, because I didn't hear anyone talk about it, can KO, or Kaio, however you say it,
I say Kaio, whatever.
Can he take advantage of a lot of this stuff? Because now you have all these 6 attacks and...
Yeah, I mean, what's that last card? Does it say... It's just gain 6 attack, right? Its base isn't modified, right? So it would become a 12 plus 6 is 18. That seems all right.
Seems pretty good.
But that being said, like I think Kaio can definitely take care of this, make use of this. But the only thing is like, if you are Kaio, then like if you were worried about variance, then you're already adding more variance by making a natural dice roll on top of that. So I'm not super big on it in Kaio. What I am super big on it is like it definitely feels like it'll get to those quad intims from Rhinar pretty fast. Blood Rush Bellows with this card is actually pretty nasty because if you discard 2 6s, you draw 2 more cards and like or you just discard a 6, you draw the 2 from Blood Rush Bellow, then you draw the extra card from this, and you're kind of off to the races and you're doing so much damage. And I think Berserk, I will say Berserk needs to at least draw 2 cards for it to be worth it. Otherwise, the card that you're drawing from Berserk could have just been the card that Berserk is. So once you get to that 2 cards and maybe even 3 to 4 is probably stretching it, but once you get to 2 or 3 cards, you're definitely getting a lot of value out of Berserk. Yeah,
no, I really like.
I think it's great, and I think it provides a lot of times. Blood Rush Bellow turns, you just end up swinging claws twice, and your turn's kind of terrible. And I think even getting that extra card out of this might get you to that point where like maybe you're doing 2 claws and a thing more often.
Yeah,
I
agree.
And then finally we have Skullcrack, which will also help any kind of bottlenecking issues that you're running into your. Also, Skullcrack helps you swing the rock.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sure it was specifically made to help with that. I'm trying to see. So you gain 1 resource when you discard it.
You have to discard it at random, and it gains a resource when you do. So it definitely helps you swing rock, but it also helps you you definitely if you discard this via Blood Rush Bellow, that's another thing that really helps you because gaining that resource, again, a lot of times with Blood Rush Bellow turns, those are more resource hungry than card heavy, or resource hungry than card hungry. So getting that resource off of Skullcrack, I think is just really, really good. I think this is going to be a staple, not just in Brute not just in Rhinar, but because it says at random and not through cost. So I think that's another thing. So I think Dynasty, we're going to see a lot in this set that it's kind of a referendum on effects that maybe were hey, we just needed a little more time in the tank to think of how this works. Whereas a lot of times Massacre is a great example of this. Massacre only works when it's discarded for the cost of an attack. So if you do one of those attacks that's like Wild Ride, draw a card, then discard a card at random, that's an effect. It's not a cost. So if you discard Massacre off that, Massacre actually doesn't trigger its effect.
It's going to be interesting seeing, well, two things. It's going to be interesting seeing when people utilize all these new different cards that have effects based on discarding and drawing and adding, discarding 6 and intimidating. You're going to have to keep track of this is getting buffed, you're intimidating, this is getting buffed, this got discarded so I get resources. But also the chaotic nature of it just feels brutish. Like, it just seems like, I mean, they're going berserk and they're doing all this craziness. The other thing was, obviously these all look like Reinhardt cards. There's brutes everywhere, but, Levia players should definitely consider all this stuff too. I mean, just like with the examples you were using. So, because we haven't seen any Shadow Brute cards yet. So.
Oh, here's an interesting card that came out. I didn't really get a chance to look at it too much, but it's called Reincarnate. Which already, like, what? Like, I didn't know brutes were like orcs.
So, right? Yeah, and I haven't read the lore. I don't know if are there female brutes. I don't know if they're kind of like the orcs in Warhammer, where they just like. I mean, they kind of like reincarnate and grow, kind of like this.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That image right there is certainly. It's certainly detailed. So.
Yeah, it's certainly detailed. But Reincarnate, the thing about this is almost like what I used to say drone should have been the whole time.
So Drone Brutality.
Yeah,
okay.
so Drone and Brutality used to go to the bottom of the deck when it was put in the discard pile from anywhere. And I used to say it should say that anywhere besides the combat chain. And so this kind of does that. So basically, if you discard it at any point, at random, then it goes on the bottom of your deck. So it makes it so, like, if anyone's trying to mill out a brute because of all the discard effects, this kind of helps.
Okay.
Not much else to go there. I mean, it just helps cycle the deck. It's another 3 blocks, so you can discard it, then block with it later on.
Yep. And it's another 6 attack, 3 block, so decent stats. But
it's a good card. I think it's a solid card. Nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We know about Yoji. We knew about Seasoned Savior. A new card that Guardians got is Buckle, and I think anytime they put this character on a card.
I love that character. I mean, I don't know who he is or whatever, but he's always wrecking somebody.
Yeah, and not even just that. This card is insane. This card is so good. So I'm gonna read it real quick. So it's your next Guardian attack this turn gains +1, Dominate, and when this hits a hero, destroy an equipment they control with a -1 counter on it. Go again. And it's a 3 cost, which sounds high, but that's actually a good thing for Guardian because it's turns on to Nothos.
First thing that came to mind was the my bolters, boots, because usually you want to block early with them. If I saw this coming in, it would really suck because before I get to use Go again, I'm trying to think of other cards that already have a block counter on them, but you hang on to them.
Yep.
But no, artwork's amazing. The effect's great. +1 is fine. It still adds a ton of pressure. And it's blue.
And it's blue.
Sure.
No, this thing's great. It turns. You can even do it just off of Nothos. I mean, we've seen enough with Terra Sunder that Terra Sunder into a Nothos, just 7 Dominate on a weapon.
Yeah.
It's basically what it turns it into. And I don't think the effect is as devastating as Terra Sunder. I think Terra Sunder is probably like, if you had to pick Terra Sunder or Buckle, you'd probably pick Terra Sunder most of the time. But I think Buckle definitely earns a spot in general. I think it's just very good. It's a very good card. Mm-hmm. And it could be very good. It's one of those things where if we ever get to this point where like you really want to kill armor, could come up. So we're gonna move on. Guardian, actually, that's all they've seen so far. I know one of our local players is kind of like, Jamie's more Guardian things.
For like all the previous sets, there's usually plenty of Guardian stuff, and I think it's justified. They've kind of slowed down on that, but there should be a few more.
Yeah, so I'm going to skip ahead to first I'm going to show Crouching Tiger. Because so far, all the ninja cards we've seen since the Blazing Yoroi came out have been based on this Crouching Tiger card. and it's gonna be fun to talk about because I have no idea how to make this good.
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously theories. A player better than me, much better than me, will have to tell me why this is good. I understand like any card that cares about chain links will.
No,
like
come
that.
on, we'll crack it right now.
We'll crack it right. Okay, fine. Crouching Tiger. It is not a token. It is truly a card, but it's weird because you can like generate more of these. So if you ever get to the point where like you should just have them almost like tokens, like in your deck box, like I don't know. Interesting. So
which color is that one? I can't. Is that a
so
yellow?
it actually doesn't have a color.
Okay.
You can't pitch them. It's like that tan. I think they called it pearl.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking of the promo that generates them.
Yeah,
okay.
it generates them.
Okay.
So Crouching Tiger is a 0 cost, 0 attack, go again attack for ninjas. And it has a new keyword called ephemeral. And ephemeral says if Crouching Tiger would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, instead it just ceases to exist. It's kind of like a token. So if a token in most other games goes to the graveyard, it doesn't even. Some games don't even have it go to the graveyard, but others do. But either way, it just ceases to exist. That being said, it is a card. It's been confirmed. You can put 3 of these in your deck to start with. I don't know why you would. I don't know if that's a good thing.
There's only one reason I can think of it, but that's based on another card that will.
Yeah, we'll go through the actual ninja cards. Basically, every ninja card deals with this, so we'll just jump right into it because Crouching Tiger, though the art is sick, doesn't really do anything until we get to some of the cards. So first we have Tiger Swipe. So this is a majestic.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I've seen like everything, but yeah, I don't remember what they all do. But,
okay.
So if Crouching Tiger was the last attack, this combat chain, so that token-like card, this combat chain, this has +2, go again, and when this hits, create X Crouching Tigers in your banish zone, where X is the number of Crouching Tigers you control, so it kind of like makes more of them, which is kind of wild, but you may play them this turn. So already you're starting to see a lot of what the whole like scheme is to do in this new ninja card archetype. They want to play the Crouching Tigers. Those Crouching Tigers combo into cards like this, and then cards like this make more Crouching Tigers.
Yep.
And we just keep going from there.
And I think a big play was, you kind of do, and we'll show them in a second, but you do the combo that sort of ramps up to this. You generate these tigers. You can use Art of War to get more cards and buff all the tigers you have, so they're not base 0, they're base 1. And then I believe you can use, is it Mask of the Pouncing Lynx? To find another one of these? Can you search this out, I think?
Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, I do believe so. I think it's a card with 2 attack or less.
Okay.
Base 2 attack.
So you can search another one out, and you just have this, like, entire zoo of tigers flying out. And based on, there's another attack that buffs them by 1, and then you have Art of War that buffs them by 1. You have, like, 7 or 8 tigers coming out for 2, and you're like, all right.
I wonder if it's like who the Crouching Tiger, if you can get them even to 1 damage and enough of them. I know it's not everyone's favorite hero to talk about, but Benji goes wild, right? He's just like, tigers.
And what are you going to do? I mean, you're not blocking them.
And and I just thought about something. Benji's specialization says like for every attack on the chain, right? Draw a card.
Now, I've never performed a play like this. When you're like, this tiger is attacking, it just goes on the chain, and then one after another, all the tigers are lining up.
Yeah.
So could you salt the wound after like 8 tigers?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that's crazy. Okay.
Now they have to hit, so the tigers again have a base attack of 0, but there is another card that we got. We'll skip Mind State of the Tiger route real quick. We're gonna go to Roar of the Tiger. This is the one. It's not an attack, but it does say create a Crouching Tiger in your hand. So you get one of those Crouching Tigers, put them in your hand, and then Crouching Tigers you control gain +1. So kind of like a Art of War effect, just for the Crouching Tigers.
Right.
For the rest of the turn. Spring Tidings. Yeah, Spring Tidings. I think is the card that is like it could absolutely break this in in Blitz. No.
Yeah.
Like,
And this card, that was the card I was trying to think of. So with this card, you're buffing your tigers, right?
yep.
But you also get a Crouching Tiger in your hand, and then you play Art of War, and you're like, well, I have to banish something. So you banish the tiger. Now you have a tiger that you can use, but by banishing that, you then draw 2 more cards, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to put all this
Just keep
this nonsense in my head.
except tigers.
And again, this is like you have to have you have to have all this
It's the
prepared.
lineup.
But it's gonna be awesome when it happens.
I think specifically Benji, now that I think of it, I think these were made with Benji in mind. I think Spring Tidings is the key to unlock this. I think it helps the Benji OTK plan. Again, you're still going to have to kind of Exodia your opponent just a little bit. You're going to need the right cards to line up at the right time. But I think Spring Tidings, I want to bring that up real quick. I'm going to bring it up in a different tab. Because I want to see exactly what Spring... I think it's Spring Tidings just says like every attack on the... Yeah, for when Spring Tidings hits, draw a card for each other attack you control with 2 or less base attack.
No. We don't need to draw
10
cards.
Oh yeah, we're going off with Spring Tidings. Yeah, I think Benji likes some Crouching Tiger action. I think he's going in. Let's go. Let's not skip everything. So Mind State of Tiger, despite being weird in terms of name. Is a 0-cost Ninja Aura, which is new. I don't think they have any auras like specific to Ninja just yet. It says at the start of your turn, destroy Mind State of Tiger, then create a Crouching Tiger in your hand. Interesting to note, it doesn't have Go Again on its own, so you might end a combat chain with this. It is a Majestic. I'm really curious. It is a blue for 0, or with a 0 cost, so that is very good for, like Harmonized Kodachis, turns them on. But I don't know. It just depends on how much value the tiger being in your hand is worth. It's hard. Also, the fact that it happens at the start of your turn, so it gives you an extra card to start your turn with. I'm just not super sold on it. I don't know.
No, I
the
mean,
fact that you have to wait a turn, the fact that it can be Runic Reclamation, not that your opponent's gonna play that against you, but
yeah, that was something I was gonna bring up. Is that a lot of classes this set got like an aura, like that they're not a class known for that.
Yeah.
So and then you have that Runeblade card that blows up, or that's not a new card. I thought there was a new card that it was like kill something of your own, and then you kill one of theirs. Was that like a Runeblade card?
By the way, John said he's digging your fresh haircut.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, John Hughes. All right. Or no, that may have been like something else. But either way, it's interesting seeing auras, which we'll get to like the warrior one later.
Yep. Which I'm.
Either way, I am very interested in seeing these builds where we had like Ninja Turtle and a few others, and now it's like I'm a Tiger Ninja, and it's like all right. So, and the art for this one's like pretty good, but I really like where they're swinging and there's like
tigers,
a bunch of
like tiger stuff going on, like this one,
Yeah.
Roar the Tiger, which we just talked about.
I bet the foiling for these is gonna look awesome.
Even this like Flex Claws, and I'll be honest, I think it's kind of cool that they're all like tiger themed. Like it's like
it's cool
Flex Claws and like Tiger Swipe, and
there's different fighting styles, which I like a lot. This is another one that when you hit, you just create one in your banish zone. Now
this has Go Again, which is important.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
Another one is I think you say this by saying it's Chi. Isn't it QI Chi actually? I don't know.
Well, it looks like he's using Chi as like a spiritual attack or something. I mean, I'll go with that.
I don't think it's Ki or Kai. I think it's Chi. I'm pretty sure it's pouncing Chi. But that being said, it's a 0 cost 3 attack with has combo. It says if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, pouncing Chi has +1 and Go Again. So it's a 4 for 0 Go Again. You just need to start with a Crouching Tiger.
Solid.
No
complaints.
One thing I will say about these Crouching Tigers, if you haven't buffed them, they kind of make Mask of Momentum not as good. Because you're taking every time you play the Crouching Tiger, if it's not buffed in some way, if it's not a 1 attack or higher, you're removing the chance for Mask of Momentum to hit,
Okay.
like to trigger.
Do you think this just encourages using pouncing links even more?
I'll be honest with you. I think this ninja archetype that's going to rely on these crouching tigers, I think is probably a blitz deck.
Okay.
Where I think pouncing links is way more impactful. Did it get banned?
I was like, I think it's banned.
Oh yeah,
just like a week
just
ago
got banned.
or something?
Yeah, so it did get banned. It did, didn't it? Yeah.
I don't know if it got suspended, but I remember one or the other. Like,
Yeah.
we're
So
not seeing it.
yeah, I don't know. I probably would say that pouncing links is the better play, just because. I mean, I don't know. It's like. I would say it's the better play just because of what you said before, where I think Salt the Wound is going to come into play here. I think you're going to want to. Then again, you lose Benji if you're playing in Classic Instructed. So who can use this? So we have Fi and we have Katsu. I think Katsu. It would be interesting to see if Katsu goes away from his like surging strike line.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't built a Katsu deck. I know when Even Bigger Than That came out, there was a pretty non-combo-y Katsu deck that was floating around that was actually doing kind of well. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's again, the Crouching Tigers are probably like out of everything in this set that I've seen so far, it's been a little bit harder for me to like. I don't want to say wrap my head around. Like I understand them, I just don't understand why if they're good or not.
Well, see, I mean, that's also like the amazing thing about when new sets come out. There's gonna be a lot of testing. You're gonna have people who are like, no, I'm gonna crack the code and make this work, and then you have people who are just like, I like tigers, so we're just gonna play it. But I like the different, like I said, the different fighting styles. So now you have the old Katsu. You're gonna have this type of Katsu. You're gonna have a draconic ninja. You're gonna, it's nice to see all these different like deck styles get utilized.
I totally agree, and I think. Again, like to your point, I think this is going to be a fun deck to at least try to build. I kind of want to now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to.
Also, it's going to be annoying if Assassin banishes their tiger. Like they banish the top card. And it's like, great, you got a tiger. Now, I just said that and I was thinking, I think the tigers only last on their turn, and then they like vanish or there was a keyword you said for the tigers.
Oh, ephemeral.
Yeah.
So if they hit the grave, no, interesting enough, if they get banished, they don't go away.
Oh,
it's only when they hit the graveyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So even if they get bounced back to your hand somehow, I don't know how that would happen. I don't think we have anything like that in Flesh and Blood. Oh, we have route, but they can't. I mean,
just routing a tiger back.
But you can't block with it anyway. It has no block value.
Right.
So, but if it did get bounced to hand somehow, then it would. It doesn't go away like a token. It would actually go back to your hand.
Yep.
Yes. Another thing to note, I just thought about this, is that a lot of the tiger centric cards are non-attack actions, so that also kind of you don't want a lot of them. I think in your hand, you want like one, maybe two, and they better be really impactful. Because you don't want to break the chain, right? So.
And you don't want to run into that. I've seen a lot of Briar players run into the issue where they're like, I have 4 non-attack actions,
Yeah,
wonderful.
like, wow, wonderful. Yeah, so just something to note with the Tigers. Don't go overboard on non-attack actions, I think, because it might be bad.
And this is a promo for this month.
This month's Armory. This with
go
the
to your
dagger.
locals and go get it. I mean,
go to the
cool
Haven if
card.
you're from. If you're in Central Florida. If not, go to your local armory. Support them. Now we have one of the most controversial cards. We're moving past Ninja. Unless, do you have anything left on Ninja?
What is the difference between red, yellow, and blue?
It's how many tigers get made.
Okay.
Yeah. So red. I think you're gonna always play the red. Maybe the blue, and of course a lot like other decks.
Stinky yellow.
Stinky yellow. Blue because it's a zero costed blue, so Kodachis are online, but yellow, unfortunately, it's just in that weird middle ground where it's like the least impactful on damage, and it's not as many resources, but...
Right.
Okay, so that's Ninja. That's all the Ninja cards we have. I think that was everything. Yeah, everything we've gotten so far.
Yeah, there's a few non-spoiled remaining, but...
Also, shout out to Fabrary for having this like in such an easy to parse thing. Yep. All right, so now we get to some fun stuff. This guy. I think this is really cool. I know a lot of people are very low on this and the Illusionist. legendaries. But here we are. So I'm gonna read it, and then we can talk about it.
Sure.
And how much you hate it.
All right. I think it's we'll get it.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
All right. So Spirit of Arena. That's how I've always said it. If it's different, please let me know. So Spirit of Arena. It's a 0-cost yellow pitch warrior action item. Funny enough, it's every time I see item, my mind just goes, Kyloria can steal this.
Oh, yeah.
But it is legendary, so you can only have one of these in your deck, which is good because it's legendary. So if it was a 3 of, it'd be probably expensive. But if Spirit of Arena would be put into your soul, instead put it into the arena. Oh, I actually didn't even read that. I only knew the second line.
Oh no, it goes straight into combat. You're just like, hey,
that's amazing.
There you go.
So you get to charge with it, and it's like,
Yeah.
That's great. I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah.
You may play Lumina Ascension as though it were an instant, and it doesn't go away. Wait, why is this bad? Why are people mad?
Bolton. It's not Runeblade.
It's not Runeblade. I thought it ate it. Like I thought, like when
Nope.
you play next time you play Lumina, like destroy Spirit of Arena, Lumina Ascension. Maybe you play it as an
Nah,
instant.
you got to be able to show off your legend just for a little while. And,
It lasts the whole game.
So I will say this to start off. There was a video describing the lore for all of it. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if it's Irina or how did you say it?
I say Arena.
Arena?
I always say Arena.
The story
It's
was really
very
cool.
Likely it's wrong.
Go check it out. It was on the original spoiler video, which I'm sorry I don't remember the source for it, but it should be pretty easy to find. But it was a really neat story. I have not played Bolton, but I think a lot of people immediately saw it and they're like, this doesn't really do anything. It just, helps you with Lumina Ascension. And then we have a certain local player, Nick
Yeah.
Murphy. His head exploded and was like, this is amazing. And it's the fact that it's an instant
Yeah.
that I think you can just treat it kind of like an attack reaction, where before they react to you attacking, you're just like, and I have an instant Lumina Ascension, and now I'm going to cook your grits, and, just...
I think people don't realize that, so when Monarch was, the new hotness, right? People were like, oh my god, you could go via the Vanguard into Lumina Ascension, and that makes it insane.
Mm-hmm.
And then you couldn't do that because people realized, oh, I can't play Lumina Ascension on an open combat chain, so I need to close the chain, which breaks the via the Vanguard effect, and so that's kind of terrible. So this gets around that already, which is insane. So already you can via the Vanguard and Lumina Ascension. So via the Vanguard, charge 2, your Lumina Ascension now makes... That's really good. Also what it does is Lumina Ascension has Go Again. So you're playing that as an instant. That saves a card in Soul.
Yep.
So you get to keep cards in your Soul for things like Celestial Cataclysm, or even just more Go Agains down the line.
Yep.
And then on top of that, the turn you play it has Go Again. It's an instant. So you can swing Raiden twice for free.
Yeah.
For 5? No, 6. Because 2 from via the Vanguard and 1 from this. So you're going 6/6.
Mm-hmm. Now...
I'm sorry, but I think this card is
Can
busted.
you pull
not
it up
busted,
real
but
quick?
really good. What?
Just the card text, because I can't
Oh,
see
yeah.
Let me see. If it would be in your soul... Oh, you may play it as it was an instant. For a second, I thought you could go find Lumina, and you still have to have it in hand. But okay.
Well, you can find Lumina off of the attack reaction, Beacon of Victory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So another thing this does is, even though it's an action, you can still play it as an item if you want to. Turn 1, you can just be like,
Yeah.
or you can charge this on that via the Vanguard turn, and it just comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to be told that I'm still pretty confident that still counts as charging. So even though it's not going into the soul, it's going into the arena instead. I'm pretty sure it still counts. So I think this card is very good. I'd like to hear from chat if they think it's terrible. I don't know. I think this was the first card people were like, I don't know about this one.
I just think it's one of those things where people have certain expectations when they see L as being a giant breastplate or something huge, and this is an item. I think they see item and they're like, oh, come on, how could an item be a legend? But there it is, and
yeah,
it's just the way people perceive things. But I'm sure Bolton players are losing their mind. I think it's gonna look amazing in cold foil.
amazing in cold foil.
So
Agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Pretty solid
another thing too that I want to say about the card too is that like what is a legendary, right? Like what is a legendary supposed to be?
Oh, are we digging into that? Because that's going to be a good, like, that's going to be a pretty meaty topic, but I am down for
I think
getting
it's
into it
I
right
think
now.
it's worth it. So at least a little bit. So what is a legendary to me? A legendary to me doesn't necessarily mean that it's the biggest, baddest bomb card ever, like blow shit up. Like I don't think. To me, it's something that's power is the one thing. I do expect it to have some kind of. I do expect it to have some kind of power attached to it. I also expect it to be immensely flavorful in terms of the flesh and blood like ethos or whatever. I think, and it just has to be something that like you look at it and you're like that is a special card. That does something that I don't think should be. It should be. It hits the table and it does something that no other card either does, or it's just very like this changes how the board state is like right now. Most legendaries do that from turn one, right? Like Phantasmal Footsteps, one of the strongest legendaries in the game, made Prism good. If Phantasmal Footsteps doesn't exist, Prism is not nearly as good as she was, at least early on when she was more of a Herald build.
Okay.
I just, that's where I'm at. What do you think?
No, that's a pretty good take. I think so. The first time I was the first few weeks I was playing Flesh and Blood, you would sit down with someone and you see all their gear and it's like they have all legendaries and you're just like, oh my god, you know they're level capped. They're like they're level capped. They're so awesome.
Yeah, it's a level classic WoW terms. It's like a 60 full like Grand Warlord versus like
right. Yeah. And I think Legends. Here's the thing. I think the way a lot of people look at it is they go, I'm opening a case and I am expecting to get at least one legend and that should comp most of the value that I put in.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. It's nice to get your value back, but that's not what the card game's about. Right. I don't think LSS is concerned that like you're breaking even on your purchase for this game. It's supposed to be that you're enjoying it. I mean, when I'm getting a few cases, and I imagine if I crack this, and Nick cracks, let's say the assassin boots, he's gonna be excited to get the necklace. I'm gonna be, we're gonna trade because he loves Bolton, and it serves that character really well. I also think light players have been kind of shafted for quite a while now. This was a huge shock, I think, to everybody as far as like, no, this is for Bolton. Now it doesn't say.
Yeah, but Lumen Ascension's a Bolton specialization.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait.
like,
I'm just saying, like in the past few sets,
yeah.
they haven't really gotten, like much.
Yeah.
And I also think it's cool that they're the first class to get an item legendary.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think I love it. I love the whole concept. I feel like the legend should cater to the game, not to the wallet. I also don't think this is going to be $20, and I don't think it's going to be a fortune. I think it's going to be a little more expensive, and Bolton players can either try to crack it, trade for it. I'm not going to price speculate on the stream for it right now, but I think it's going to be
specialty,
right, and I think it's going to be a fair price, but for a great effect. I mean, look at it, and I'm like 99% sure you can only have one. It's a legendary, like the keyword legendary is on it. But yeah, you were asking me what I think of legendaries. It's just something that really shows off the character or class that they specialize in, and it just adds a ton of flavor to the game. Like when you pull this, it's going to be exciting.
I think so, and I understand that not every player will feel the same way. I get that, but I will say it's nice to see LSS starting to branch into the talents a little bit for expansion sets. Now, the one thing I will say is this kind of shows when we get to the Angel, which I want to kind of like hold off talking because we are going to talk about it, but Prism's gone, right? Prism is no longer in CC right now. Now, of course, we're going to get the Living Legend format at some point, and we're going to get a new Light Illusionist, which James White already confirmed in 2023. We'll actually see a new Light Illusionist, and we'll see a new Shadow Rune Blade. So rejoice to all those people who want to play those cards again, including me. I want to play my Light Illusionist cards. But what happens when an expansion set comes out, it has talents in it, and the talented hero is already gone. right? So I think that's a lot of the reason why in these expansion sets so far, at least obviously not Crew, but in Everfest and going into this, you just didn't see very many talented cards. And I think that's partially why. Now, one thing they can do is because they knew this was coming out after Uprising, is they can support the talents that they released in the set before maybe a little bit more.
I also don't think most people or most of the player base or whoever know or understand how far in advance this stuff gets printed.
Oh yeah, this was designed probably 8 months ago.
Right,
Yeah.
at least. And so people are like, oh, well, like, didn't they know that this character would be, like in the case of the Angel card, they're just like, didn't they know how far in advance, or didn't they know Prism was about to get, Living Legend? And it's like, no. This was way prior.
And again, let's not forget, and I know people want to meme about it, Prism's legal in Blitz. You can play the card in Blitz. And Blitz is a Worlds format.
There was something that Matt told me at the shop, and that was so I don't know if it was on their official website, but like we got some data that worldwide Blitz is actually played more than CC.
By like a large margin.
Yes, it wasn't like half and half or 60-40. It was a huge margin, and typically, or at least in the area, when people say Blitz, they're like, oh, LOL, like it's stupid, but like it's actually played way more than CC. So I imagine maybe in other countries or other parts of this country, there are locals who are just like, hey, we only have 3 hours a night to run an armory.
Our armory starts at 7. Store closes at 11.
Yep.
What are you going to do? You can't run a 7-round CC tournament. All right. Well, that was a fun rant for Legendary. We still got some other cards. I actually am really excited to talk about our next card. So this is... I am sorry again if I butcher this, but I'm just going to try. Jubil. Jubil Spellbane. It's a 1-costed 3-attack sword. It is 2-handed, specifically for warriors. It says whenever this hits a hero and you don't control a Spellbane Aegis, create a Spellbane Aegis token. And what is that? It's an aura with, if your hero would be dealt arcane damage, you may destroy this to prevent one of that damage. I just realized that says you may, so that's cool that it's optional. I read this earlier and did not see that. So you can hold on to the Spellbane Aegis. They can't like ping it off for no reason, like try to bait it or anything. I think that's good. I think this is gives you so your Dawnblade against a lot of wizards right now. How many counters would you say you expect to get on Dawnblade against a wizard?
Wizard matchup, maybe honestly maybe one.
Yeah, and
it's too hectic and too you're just trying not to get blowed up. So like
he got blowed up. Yeah, so you're pitching a lot more, you're spending cards a lot less. And I think this gives you an out to that, right? So you could swing this, use an attack reaction, just give it like +3 or something. They let it hit, or they only blocked for 3 or something like that. You get a Spellbane Aegis, and you have a little bit more protection that warriors often struggled against wizards for that reason. They didn't have. You play blues, but your blues are kind of on curve. You don't have like a lot of extras a lot of the time. So, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's definitely gets, to me, if I was playing Dory right now, I think it's in the sideboard. I think I definitely played against Wizard.
So,
but I'm not the Dory main. So.
I think it was like this morning this got spoiled.
Yep.
I had like 4 messages pending, and they're all like, congrats, congrats. And I was
this
like,
card's
whoa,
good.
What happened? So I look at it, and the first word I saw was Aegis, and I was like, oh crap, are we getting like a shield?
Oh, I actually did the same exact thing.
I
saw Aegis and was like...
And I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing if we get a one-hand sword, and we get like,
you're like
an
old
offhand.
school warrior, like warrior tank.
So I was reading it, and I was like, my first impression was I really don't like this.
Wow.
And it was because I was like, okay, so it's a crappy Dawnblade. Without the, like, it's 3 for 1 without the thing.
Yep.
Here's the thing, though. A lot of this set, and something this game does very well, is...
Options.
No, you don't play this in every deck. You don't play this in every matchup. If you're playing against... now, I was going to say, there are certain Rune Blades where yeah, you can negate the little pings they do constantly.
Probably Briar is a big one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't do a lot of arcane typically. It's usually like one or two.
The big thing with Briar is she can actually block because she gets those tokens that she can block really huge. So you're probably not getting Dawn counters, so this works. Are you going to use this against Viscerai? Probably not because they
You're gonna race
hate
Viscera,
block.
yeah.
So that's for Dawnblade. So here's the thing: it's not broken, it's not insane, but it's an option that I would use against wizards, against certain rune blades, and through the course of a game, if you're using, it just adds up. It builds up value throughout the game. Maybe it would have been a little broken, but I kind of wish you could get more than one Aegis counter because it's just one. But that could get out of control if you were like, I got 6. So like the next time you
And it's a May too, so you could just like stack them, and then they're finally like Aether Wildfire, and you're like, I'll just use my Aegis counters for free.
Just ignore that. So yeah, I like it. The art's cool. It's pretty good. It's a nice, like you said, like a
Hold
side.
on, you brushed off the art is cool way too easy. That card looks fucking raw.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And I think in cold foil it's gonna look awesome.
There is one thing, and they do it with a lot of the weapons. I think the first violation, in my opinion, was Dawnblade. There are certain weapons where they're like it's two-handed, and I look at it and I'm like,
That's a one-handed sword.
I can't tell. It looks like a cutlass or something like that.
Yeah.
When I saw Dawnblade, I was like, that's
It's
not
like
two-handed. It's like a fencing, like a
Yeah.
rapier or something like that. I don't know. No, the art is great. It's just sometimes hard to. I don't know if that's a great sword. I don't know. There's no scale like to put it to. However, I don't know if there's a cold foil version of that, but even the foil should
It'll
look.
come cold foil.
Oh,
I'll make sure
okay.
it'll come cold.
All right. That's-
Yeah, I think it'll be cold foil in the set. I don't think it'll be Marvel, but I think it'll be cold foil. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think this card is sick looking, but yeah, I think to your point, it's a sideboard card.
Mhm.
All
Nope.
right. We know about these, but Cleave.
All right.
We have to talk about Cleave.
Sure. I'll start this one off. I really like the art. That is what you should be doing with the giant axe, which is kind of like the showcase weapon for the set for warrior. When I was playing against Dromize, we had that one locals where there was like 800 Dromize, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. I think everyone was just testing it one day, and everyone came together. I was like, I really wish we had a cleave or something where I could put pressure on them and an ally at the same time.
So this does add 4, so it's the only card that does this really well, but it does turn on the dominate, or not dominate, the overpower.
Yep.
Overpower.
Mm-hmm.
It does turn on the overpower from the Merciless Battle Axe.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's one thing. So it usually will probably hit, so that's coming in for 8.
Mm-hmm.
All of these arts are amazing. I don't know, I feel like LSS stepped up their game big time. I feel like I say that every single set. Every single set, I feel like this art's the best art I've ever seen.
So
like,
was it Flukenbox? James White and him had a recent interview,
It was
and I
Fluke,
do
yeah.
think this has nothing negative about the original artist, but I think as the game becomes more successful, they have more funding and they are able to like put more into the art. And
They also see like what works and what doesn't, what people gravitate towards, what people talk about, what cards are. You know, James White literally is signing cards at everything he goes to, and so I wonder if he sees like, oh, this is the 75th Prism I signed today.
Yeah.
Like maybe people like Prism. So anyway, back to Cleave. +4, so it turns on the overpower. And when it hits a hero or an ally, you may deal that damage to another ally they control.
So it's pretty good. Obviously with Axe, this is the card that a lot of warriors have been looking for. This type of card since they spoiled the Axe. Here's the issue.
Here's
Here's
the
the issue. So I saw this card and I was like, okay, so it gives the Axe the ability to get overpower. So now you're swinging, and if you're doing attack reactions, they can only block with one card. So they are probably going to use armor. The issue is they made a bunch of these pierce cards that can only be used with dagger or sword, and that kind of irritates me.
Well, I mean, I think that goes with the the idea of piercing, right? Like this
Right,
isn't
an
gonna
axe would
pierce
not
something.
pierce. It'd more like it would shred or something, or but
So
it's a very there's no like it cuts off the synergy. So
maybe a little bit.
And there are more warrior cards to be spoiled. That doesn't mean there aren't
Yeah.
cards like that.
Another thing this does too is it says if it hits a hero or an ally, right?
Mhm.
So you can't defend an ally. So if they have two big allies, then you're just like, oh, swing into the ally, kill the other ally.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you hit an ally and cleave a hero?
No.
You can't do that.
That would be so good.
Hey, I'm trying to find every little loophole I can find, but
No, have you played Warrior? Have you seen how LSS feels about Warrior recently?
Yeah. Now, but no, again, and it's definitely a thing in this set. Somebody's having a bad day. There's just blood shooting all over the place. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the art, and
we're back to Flesh and Blood.
now that's not the guy from Spilling Blood,
No.
but if they released even a Blitz hero and the guy's name is like Ragnar or something, and he just, I love it. I love the whole concept of it. He definitely looks like someone from like Monster Hunter or something like that.
I like that they're going like both ways with Warrior 2 in the sense that they have like the Dorinthia level like knights warrior kind of thing, like very pristine and very like trained, and they also just have this guy who's like fucking big axe.
Yeah, there is definitely like noble and then like barbarian sort of thing going on, almost like a brutish type thing. But no, it's cool, but Axe needs more cards. Like
this thing it needs more work at the moment.
3 for 3 is just like not doing it.
Not yet. We'll see.
Well,
I mean, again,
as is.
I'm sure we'll get more. We'll get cards that he belongs to.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll get warriors in the future that'll have more warrior cards too.
Yep.
So we're gonna go on to
one last. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can you go back on that? So, I was gonna say you can use that with like the one-handed axes. I mean, bring it to like a 6.
You could do that.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay. And Bolton can use that because it's just warrior. It's not like
light warrior or whatever. Yeah.
Just generic warrior. Okay.
Now we go to my favorite art in the set.
Favorite art.
So I mean, I know we have some more cards that need to get spoiled, but like this just
yeah. Before we even saw the card, we saw the preview, the splash image on Flukenbox.
Yeah.
Is that who it was? And I was like, card can suck. Don't care. Play set of foils like immediately, and then he said
I think he said it comes extended.
yes.
Yeah,
and I
and
was
I'm
like done.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I don't care how much it
Like
is.
that's a card I would get signed probably. So
yeah, this is just
it looks great.
It's just great, and it's really good. I think so. It's a little different than what we've seen in warrior cards, and goes along that aura thing that you talked about. It is an instant, so you can kind of play it like a combat trick. So it says put a plus. It costs 1. It's a Iron Song Pride. It is an instant, so it has no block value. But it says put a +1 counter on a target sword you control. When Iron Song Pride leaves the arena, remove all +1 counters from swords you control. And at the beginning of your end phase, if a sword has not hit this turn, destroy Iron Song Pride. So I think it'll be very easy to keep at least the counter that you get from this. Because you're already making Dawnblade. Clearly this is made for Dawnblade. Playmat would be sick. Yeah. If they make a playmat of this, that's just my playmat. Like that's just it's just like I made a big point to get the Assassin playmat that we're gonna. I can't wait till we get to the Assassin, by the way, because I think Assassin's really cool. But I made a big point to get the Assassin playmat that's actually done by the same artist.
Okay.
Yeah. But if this ever came out as a playmat, done. This is my playmat.
No, we'd have to sell whatever, but like we will acquire. But
So that being said, I think this card just really gets Dorinthia to where she wants to be. Giving Dawnblade a +1 as an instant is already good. Like, I mean, it costs 1, so a lot of times you're going to swing Dawnblade, pitch a blue, swing Dawnblade. You have 2 other resources to play with, and one of them being a counter. And then even then, if you're still playing Twinning Blade, let's say they try to block out to not let you keep the counter. Twinning Blade around it, and you swing again. A lot of times that Twinning Blade swing would be kind of terrible because it's just a 3 still. This makes it a 4 without another card, right? So it's another break point. So I think this card is very good. I think they finally Warrior got something to be happy about since like Crucible 4.
So I have noticed that most people just instantly go, so this is how it works with Dawnblade, this is how it works with Dawnblade and all this stuff.
I'm on Dawnblade train, but yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
no. The first thing I noticed was it doesn't require Dawnblade. It's not a Dorinthia specialization or anything like that. So I've been going on and on about going Centauri Saber and Dagger. Now the thing is, most plays, I think it's going to be like Kasai, is you go Centauri Saber, give it a go again. And then the Dagger is the thing you're buffing like crazy. So chances are they're going to save their blocks for the Dagger. With this, you can give it to the sword, and now you're like, now my saber is always a 3, unless you block, and then it's a 4. And they're never going to block the sword, because they're saving it all for this buffed slice and dice, push forward, all that. So they're focusing on the dagger, so the whole game, you can be riding a +1 on your sword. That's kind of what I was thinking about with that. I think you may have mentioned it a second ago, but it's also an instant. So it's kind of like an attack reaction. You're just
it's a
like,
trick. It's a combat
and
trick.
+1.
100%.
No, it's really good. It can go into almost every build except for axes.
But you wouldn't play, like, look at it.
I'm just saying.
Look at it.
It's very... They showed the Marvel axe, and it just... Yeah. But this playset, definitely... I really like it.
Yeah, I
it's
think
just
it's
a very solid card.
The art's good. The effect's good.
You knew I was going to gush because it's Warrior and it's got Dorinthia on it. So I had to give it one little negative, which doesn't apply to axes. But
it also says, you were bringing up dagger, and I was kind of worried because it does say, like, let's say they let the dagger hit but not the sword. It says a sword needs to hit to keep the counters. To keep this on the field.
Yeah,
so,
I would definitely put on the sword. I just like that it doesn't require...
No, what I'm saying is, like, if they... Let's say they do block the Centauri Saber, but let the dagger hit, this would go away.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just, the way I explained it, I don't think they're going to block both. If they're blocking both...
Well, they give up their hand.
Then, they're kind of losing out. No.
And to your point, they're going to see the... Especially if you start with Slice and Dice, they know the bigger swing is coming.
Yes,
right, so
correct.
they're like, yeah.
Yep.
Awesome
card.
I don't even want to move on because I just want to leave the card up on the screen. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I love it. All right, so moving on. We have some commons and some rares that we can go over. So Precision Press, this is where you were talking about. So as great as we love the last card.
Can you read the first sentence, just the top line? You're next. What does it say?
Sword or dagger attack this turn has go again and piercing 1.
No axes.
No axes. Doesn't need to be. It's a piercing thing. It's precision.
I'm sure the victim's very concerned how it's...
Literally, the card is called Precision. What about...
If you're really good with an axe...
What about this is precision?
That entire area is...
There's no precision there.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's Precision Press, my friend.
Actually... Oh, you can't click the red one? Oh, that's speculative. All right. So
yeah,
it hasn't been spoiled yet. Okay.
Oh, and I can't click it. Yeah, so they're just... basically, they're thinking that it's going to be a cycle, which it should be. But yeah, so piercing is a new mechanic, another new keyword. It says if it's defended by an equipment, it has +1 attack, which I think is actually pretty interesting, right? So if they're trying to like not let a Centauri Saber hit by giving you a piece of armor so it doesn't go up, it actually buffs the sword anyway. So they have to like maybe not commit armor to it.
So I think these cards are amazing, and I will explain why. The blue one I'm not overly insane about. It's still pretty good, but the thing is, Warrior has gone a lot of ways to dominate, and they're gonna have to cough up some armor. And then with the piercing, now they're speculating that the red piercing is +3.
Yep.
Not only that, but it gives it go again, which will be amazing in Kasai. It'll be amazing in most forms of Dorinthia. They're gonna, if you do dominate, they're gonna block, throw armor, and you're like, well, the armor does nothing. I'm still coming in, and that can make the difference between if you get a counter or not. The art's pretty cool. I don't know if that is referencing one of the battles that Dorinthia has in the story.
It's hard to say. It looks like it's just like
Because I don't know where that is.
Well, it looks like it's in the Fields of Solana, which this is gonna be really nerdy, but whatever. A lot of the last story took place in this. This is where the demons were like the monastery was like happening. So that all took place in the Fields of Solana. So this could be that.
Yep. I originally complained that it's a cost 1, but it gives Go Again and blocks 3 and has a piercing effect. For 0, I think it would have been nutty.
Yeah, no.
So 1 is
well
good.
For 0, it just literally like power creep.
Yes.
Like most 0 cost things.
It would basically be like Glint the Quicksilver. You just want to draw a card, you get piercing. But I think it's. I wouldn't play yellow.
No,
Right.
Ew, yellow cards.
Stinky.
Stinky.
No, great card. And it's just a rare, so.
And then we get back to Flesh and Blood. All right, here we are. So this is
that's a puncture.
This card also gives piercing, but this is an attack reaction. So this says target sword or dagger gains +3 and piercing 1. So the cool thing that I really like about this card is you can punish them for already blocking with armor.
Yes.
Right. So they don't know this one's coming. They don't know that you're about to have piercing. So they can basically, like, if they, let's say you're coming in for 4, and they give you a card in armor, and you give this, so they're blocking it up like completely. Now you're giving it basically +4 for 1.
4 for 1 is second swing, except doesn't have nearly the awkward requirement because you can go tall and you get the +4.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you regarding this in the last card. How do you think this affects Guardian using shield? Now, because usually the shield is incredibly annoying, but now you're like, oh, you're using shield. I'm just going to puncture right through it.
Yeah.
By the way, all these cards are way better than what's the axe that breaks armor? If it, the card we hate.
Oh, Shatter.
Yeah. This is how it should have been.
Shatters like do you remember those memes on the internet? It's like the longer you look at this picture, the more you find wrong with it.
Every time I read it, I'm like, this is even
Shatter's
worse than
like
last
every
time.
time you read Shatter, it's like worse. It's like
this is how I wish it was, or something this effective. But how do you feel that interacts with the shield?
So if any deck is going to play Ram's Head against you, they have to think twice because Ram's Head piercing just negates Ram's Head.
Right.
Just says like
because shields are equipment, right? They're not okay.
They are. So but the point of playing the other one, Eisenloft? No.
I don't know if you're
Stalagmite.
Okay. I don't know if you're talking about the new one, but yep.
The point of the new one. The point of playing Stalagmite is more the frostbite than the
yeah, that's true.
Than the actual block. I mean, the block matters. Don't get me wrong, but you can do this. Well, you'll get a frostbite before, so. I mean, I think this card is just very good for punishing already blocking the armor. I don't think they're gonna give up if they're already playing Stalagmite. Like, so you're playing against a Olden.
Yep.
I don't think he's gonna give up Stalagmite just because you might be playing some piercing cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
but you can't punish him for using it.
Right. And I mean, to be honest, I was telling you and Alex this. Anything that's like an attack reaction +3. I mean, it's just like another Razor Reflex, except now it pierces.
Yeah.
So if you're going tall, this is just more red fuel. Because the problem Warrior sometimes has is as the game drags on, you're running out of ammo. And this is just another 3 of... when they block you out, and you're just like, well, now all I have is like blues, and so now you have 3 more +3s, possibly +4s. Does it block for 3?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
really
great.
good.
Warrior cards block for 3. It's good.
And it's a common, so...
And it's a common. Comes in all 3.
Yep.
All right, so that's Warrior. I think Warrior is one of the winners of the set, for the most part.
Very solid support. I'm really happy with it.
We're not so happy about...
What's that? The axe?
The axe yet. But it has... I will say this, before we get too far. Don't sleep on this forever. I
absolutely not. No, I am getting this card.
I think this axe actually will have play in the future. I think this is one of those things that's like, just keep it. I think every Marvel weapon, they have an idea for it. It may not be good now.
I will give the dev team enough credit to be like, no, they didn't make this weapon,
intentionally terrible.
There's some setup. And so does that mean there's 5 more cards or 6 more cards that have to be.
Yeah, 2 cycles. So basically 2 commons, I think.
Okay.
That we don't have yet.
So that card, the one this one, I have not read this yet. Galvanic.
Oh, so this card exists specifically to give them a mechanologist equipment for their arms.
Okay.
Because it only has Battle Worn. That's the only thing it does on its own. We have to get to it right away because otherwise none of it doesn't make sense otherwise without it. So Construct Nitro Mechanoid is a 4 cost. Oh hey, we have a follower. Hey, thank you,
Yeah,
Sour
really
Healer,
appreciate
please.
that.
Thank you so much.
Did you want to do the Marvel version?
Oh, so this is the first so the Marvel is what this makes. So this is
okay.
So yeah, so constructs resolve flipped as an item in the arena, which tells me that there's going to be more, and I'm more excited about that than the actual construct, even though it's very cool. Because the whole thing to me about mechs is I want to like build shit.
Well, I
So I think that's
imagine
cool, but-
when I mean maybe not this set, but when we get closer to like wherever her
Metrics.
you're gonna have a whole variety of options. It's like, what kind of mechanologist are you?
Yeah, and it'll be like
And-
recipes. It'll tell you like use this, and this to make this thing, right? So, all right, Construct Nitro Mechanoid, and I know Brandon is very excited. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man? New to Flesh and Blood?
Hey, welcome.
welcome. We're just enjoying some spoilers, man. Going over everything that we got, like the whole set spoiled, so we have a lot to go over. But
Yeah.
I've been trying to go through this card, so I'm just gonna read it real quick. So transform target mechanologist, head, chest, arms, legs, weapon, 3 hyper drivers you control into Nitro Mechanoid. If you don't negate this, so the reason it says that because even if you had those as targets, if they die before this resolves, then this fizzles basically.
Okay.
But put them under Nitro Mechanoid as like, oh, it's so cool. It's like coming in. Yeah, that was a good Transformers. If you don't put this in the graveyard, go again. The fact that this go again is pretty good too. It costs 4, which is pretty expensive, and of course that's a huge cost. And then, what does that do for you? You do all that, you get this thing.
That is crazy.
It's so cool, and this is the Marvel version that I like need. I need this in my life.
Yeah.
This is like one of 2 cards.
You know, hold on, real quick. When I won't say names, but when people are like, the L's aren't that crazy or this, like, look at this. This is amazing.
It's
like,
so cool.
Yeah, even if you don't play mech, like...
And even if this ends up being terrible, I'll be honest, this is a collector card. This will have value.
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
good. So anyway, so what does that all do for you? You get this mechanologist weapon equipment item, which I said earlier, it says item, and a little part of me is like, Kyloria can steal it.
I am picturing this thing just being like, and just flies off with the mech.
It's Smog. He's just like, this is mine now.
Smaug.
Smaug. All right, so what does it do? It says action, banish a card out from under Nitro Mechanoid, attack. So Yu-Gi-Oh players will know what that is like. That's basically XYZ things. But anyway, it's happening. XYZ. Anyway, banish a card from under Nitro Mechanoid, attack. And it has 5 base attack, and that attack doesn't go down. It's just every time it attacks, it's 5. Now, to know it doesn't have go again, so you're probably going to end your chain with this when you're doing this normally. It has overpower. It just has it. So they can only ever block this with 1 action card. Of course, they can use defense reactions or something like that too. And then it has temper, which when the combat chain closes, of course, you guys know what temper is. You put a -1 counter on it. Then if it ever has 0 defense at the end of the combat chain, when a combat chain closes, destroy it. So yeah, this card is bonkers. I hope it's good. I don't know if it'll be good. Andrew, I need it. Power Rangers Zord, yeah, it's insane.
Here,
I just think it's so cool.
I will say this just to begin. Or 2 things. It's a new play style.
That's
which I
completely
love.
different. Yeah.
I feel like if someone's like, I played in Monarch and I just came back, and you're like, cool, Nitro Mechanoid, and they're like, what? Sam Hill? And
yeah, you're like, I'll destroy my arm, my head, my arms, my head, my chest, my boots, and 3 hyperdrivers, and my weapon.
Yeah.
To make this thing.
Freaking amazing. The other thing was, I know I've picked up Vincent some of those Pokemon packs that have like the 4-piece giant.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted it for this, where it's like the head,
4
the
pieces.
Voltron sort of thing going on. But anyways, yeah, it's
it's amazing. So whether or not, so I will say that that's a very heavy cost. So the like goodness level of this is up in the air. I will say that. I'll be honest. I think it's very, if you ever get this on the field, you're in a really good spot. You have a 5-block equipment, which funny enough, we just got over Warrior punishes you for blocking with equipment. But you also have basically a 6-power attack weapon, and I'll explain why shortly. And that can attack, listen, if you put your head, chest, arms, boots. Oh, you know what I just realized?
Do tell.
I just thought this doesn't have once per turn.
As far as
If you get action points, which like you can do with the
no, you're like
just
beating
I
those
just realized that
targets.
it doesn't have once per turn. That's insane. So if you find a way, Bronson. The amount of fun players will have playing this card is gonna be very high. I totally agree, dude. Welcome, Bronson. But yeah, so this doesn't have once per turn action. So if you play like what's the card? What's the mech? Has dash on it, and you get a bunch of action points.
Where there's like electric shooting all over the place.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's escaping me.
Yeah.
Every time you boost, you gain an action point.
Yeah, don't you draw a card as well?
Yeah, when you play it. Andrew, help me.
You're it's like, I should know because they're like $20 a piece.
I have the playmat of it. We're
Overdrive.
It's something like that. I can't believe no one is gonna say it in chat.
No.
It's gonna say it in chat. Anyway, so you play that. You boost like 2 times.
Cheating, right?
You boost. Yeah, go ahead. You boost like 2 times. You get 4 action points, and then you just. Oh, and the cost of this to attack is banishing a card underneath it. So you don't even need resources at that point. You just go like, punch.
Wait, so
high octane.
High octane. All right.
Thank you,
Hey,
Bronson.
yeah, that's it.
We were struggling.
Yeah.
But you go high octane, you get like 4 action points, and then you just go like 6.
Mm-hmm. And they can only block with 1 card each time. Or
This is a game end. That makes this card so much better.
so on the second punch, is it still the same combat chain?
Yes.
So they can only block 1 card the whole combat chain, or how does that work?
Wow.
Since it has overpower.
I think we're seeing the delay on YouTube because everyone just said high octane now.
Oh, okay. All right.
But Bronson said high octane
Yeah.
was so much longer ago.
He's the wiener, but no. To my question, so if you punch and they block, and they're like, okay, overpower is active, so I can only block with 1. Will the next punch break the chain, or?
I don't think it breaks the chain. What I do think it does is that each one's a new link. It doesn't say to this card's chain link. I'd have to ask that. If it's true to the fact that they can only defend it, it has to be the chain link. In my head, there's just no way it's not the chain link. So like each time it attacks, it's 1 action card, I think.
Well,
Even
that makes
still,
or breaks whether this just like stomps you or.
I don't think so. I think the fact that you played high octane, you boosted 2 times, so that's all that attack.
So how many resources have you? So can you go over? I'm sorry, because like I didn't look too much at this card other than the art. The banishing the cards that are under it.
Yeah.
What cards are those?
So they are. It's going to be These are the only ones we have, right? So it's Vizortronic Model I.
Okay.
It's Tekla Foundry Heart.
Oh, it's the equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
gotcha.
the new gloves, which is Galvanic Bender. It's and then the boots
Achilles.
are the Achilles Accelerator.
Yep.
And of course, those all give it. This is kind of nuts. If you attack 3 times with 0 to 60, then have 5 action points. Attack 5 times with Nitro Mech for 25 damage. So here's the thing: is it's actually not even 25. It's 30. And the reason it's 30 is because of the card I just had on screen. So you're probably gonna banish this one last. And the reason being is this gives it +1 attack while it's under.
So
it.
I have a quick question. Could you use the new Marvel gun at the end of all that since you're boosting? And,
So
or does this replace it?
And the biggest reason is that one of the costs was to get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you have to get rid of. You're gonna have
Oh,
4
weapon,
pieces of equipment,
yeah.
a weapon, and 3 hyperdrivers. So you can swing this 7 times before you can't swing it anymore.
Okay.
But if you don't win the game in 7 times of swinging this,
Oh no, there's something crazy wrong.
yeah. So I think this card is wild if you ever resolve it, but it's very much like an Exodia piece.
Yes.
In the sense that like you need a very specific hand, you need to there is a way to help get it out. They did release a good amount of supports for it. So Galvanic Bender is a gloves. It does have battle worn, which is cool, so you can block with it one time, and then it still goes underneath.
So does this buff the mech by
Yes.
one?
Yes.
So you're hitting for
Six. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
6.
Crazy.
I thought of something.
You gotta stop giving away all the
No,
secret tech.
I'm just thinking like, if the mech has this underneath it, how does Phantasm read?
As far can you
Will
if
this
you
pop
like
Phantasm?
dude, a dragon comes out, you're like nope, you just forearm it. Oh, I'm picturing like the little forklift thing from it's like just
Just picks it up and moves it. No dragon here. And weapon, the delay so much. Yeah, I think that's a YouTube thing. I think it's fine on Twitch, but whatever. Yeah, even Rio's Way was like high octane like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they also got some support to help you get it out because you also needed 3 hyper drivers. So 3 hyper drivers are this card. They were released in Arcane. It's like okay, but it is an item that doesn't have go again, so getting 3 of them out is a little difficult. This card is very good. It says when Hyperdriver enters the arena with 3, it enters with 3 steam counters. When Hyperdriver has no steam counters, destroy it.
Yeah.
Once return effect, when you boost a card, you gain a resource.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. It's really good. But you're like, how am I going to get 3 of those in any realistic manner? Well, we have Blessing of Ingenuity. So Blessing of Ingenuity is a aura, which again, funny you said that. I didn't even notice that. Like everyone got an aura.
Everyone got auras.
You get an aura. You get an aura. At the start of your turn, destroy Blessing of Ingenuity, then put up to 3 hyperdrivers from your graveyard and or banish zone into the arena. So you have to find the hyperdriver still. They have to be either in your graveyard or in your banish zone. But boosting helps you do that. Right, so boosting's
you're gonna be naturally doing
boosting's
that
gonna
anyway.
fill that graveyard. We got a cycle of hyperdrivers, so you can put more hyperdrivers in your deck. Before Arcane Rising, or when Arcane Rising was out, it's just the red hyperdriver.
Oh, all right. I was not aware of that. Okay.
We only had 1 before, so you can only play 3 copies and 2 copies in Blitz. So funny enough, when the card was spoiled, we didn't know about the cycle yet. So I was like, you can't play it in Blitz.
Right.
But then they were like, JK, you can play all these instead. Yeah, Blessing of Ingenuity is going to be the way you get that out. YouTube has better quality. Whatever.
I think you can, Bronson. I think you just baseball bat the mech.
Can you arc smash the Nitro Mech? You can arc smash it. You can Kyloria steal it. You can smash and good time it. You can yeah.
Which, if you're playing against Brute, I guess you have to be careful that they didn't side deck it. But
I think it's just so cool that it also has 5 block.
yeah.
So it's like a
So it doesn't just instantly, it sticks around for a bit.
It's a lot to get out. It should be powerful. This is a great card, and the fact that I'm just now reading it doesn't have once per turn action attack.
Oh no.
It's like
So that way, even if it does stick around for 1 turn, maybe you just get that payoff where you put the combo together and you dish out 4 uppercuts, and then
yeah.
No, really.
This
excited.
is great. I think it's so fun, and it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, no, they
Looks
are, and
so
I can't
good.
wait to see it in foiled out and
Cold
all that
foil,
stuff.
Marvel, all that stuff. And I have to come down from our high a little bit because we have a really terrible card to talk about. Just kidding. This card's also insane.
I was like, which mech card is bad? Yeah,
No,
okay.
all the mech cards are playable in some way. So this is Pulse Weave Harpoon. It's a 1-cost boosted attack. Attacks for 4, blocks for 3, and it says when this attacks a hero, they reveal X cards from their hand, where X is the number of times you've boosted this combat chain. Choose an attack action card with defense less than or equal to X, then add it to the chain link as a defending card. This card is stupid.
Stupid. Yeah.
Good stupid.
Yeah.
Good broken.
Yeah.
So basically, if you boosted twice, you get to look at 2 cards from their hand. Then pick one with 2 block or less, which is going to be a vast majority of the cards in the game. Especially right now, especially for Fi and stuff like that. And you rip the card from it. Now they get to block with it. They have to block with it.
Yeah.
So this will not be doing as much damage naturally for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But you ripped a card out of their hand.
Yeah.
You've gotten card advantage.
Funny
This is
enough,
so good.
funny
and
enough,
it has boost.
I remember talking about how I really wanted a warrior card that forced them to block. to trigger Reprise. Now, I think Reprise is done. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but the way the art is, where it's like a plasma hook or something coming out, no,
you're like
awesome.
grabbing the card, like it's
like whatever thing they have, or a shield, or I don't know, like their armor. But yeah, no, it's really neat.
Mech getting some love is always great to see. I agree, like especially the love it's getting. It doesn't feel broken. Like this feels very good. This is very good.
Yeah,
but I don't feel like. I don't know. You still get the block with the card, so it's not like completely useless. It's not like they made you discard it or banish it. You're still getting some value out of it.
Right, and chances are you're not boosting like 4 or 5 times. It's probably going to be like twice, I think, on average. But
oh, and it's also only an action card. So
yeah.
I know that's like whatever.
It can miss.
It can miss.
But it's if it was just anything,
it's probably not going to. But
right.
Like, then we have BIOS update, which I'll be honest with you. I read BIOS update. I read the first line of BIOS update. And I was like, oh, the card's good. and then the second line, I was just like, this card's very good. So it's a 0 cost 3 block action with Go Again. And it says, the next action card you boost this turn gains +3. So that's when I was like, oh, the card's pretty good.
Yep.
And then it says, the next time a Mechanologist item with 2 costs or less is banished to pay a boost cost this turn, put it in the arena.
Yeah.
Put it in the arena.
You know, there's been a ton of boost dash.
Oh, why is it so small?
I would say over the past, I don't know, like 4 to 6 weeks. But there was always that caveat where it's like, yeah, but if you boost and like you get rid of like what do you like one of the what am I trying to say? The equipment cards, not the equipment, the items that boost your gun or whatever, that power up your gun. It feels bad. Now you're like, not only am I getting +3 for 0, now I want to do that. Because then it's kind of like that one mech card breaking the mold, or something with the mold, where it just puts an item out. Pouring the mold. It's just a combination of like 2 or 3 different amazing effects. The only weird thing with this card is I think Matt Rogers spoiled it. So they previewed it and I saw it. I just saw the image and I was like, they really need to give up on Data Doll. Like I cannot believe it's a Data Doll specialization. But it's not. It's just not a really cool image.
Well, what's funny about it is it's Data Doll's effect. Mm-hmm. It like gives you Data Doll's effect.
Yeah.
Which is, and then shows Data Doll getting like a BIOS update. I think that's.
And I like the image in the background, or like the screen display, or whatever.
I don't know why it's so small in the preview, but yeah, it's. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's like a Data Doll update or something. Like her AI
well, it's kind of like
updated.
when you're installing or patching something, they have a little screen, the artwork. But no. A+, like, you're playing this.
We've been live for an hour and a half. We still haven't even gotten to Assassin.
What's the next card?
Next card.
I'm so excited, Sarah.
No, this is... The fact that people are like... I don't understand the
No, screw them. Screw them.
Plasma Mainline.
More busted.
Oh, this is terrible. This is so bad. Except it's not. So Plasma Mainline enters the arena with 5 steam counters on it. And then, of course, when it has no steam counters on it, destroy it. When a Mechanologist item with cost 2 or less enters the arena under your control, you may move a steam counter from Plasma Mainline to that item. Mm-hmm. This is so good.
Yes.
I don't understand.
Absolutely.
Why
awesome.
is everything good?
Let's see. So, do you start the game with this?
I think there is a version of the deck. There's a version of Mech. So, the cool thing they're doing with Mech right now, I think, is they're giving it so many different avenues to explore. Mm-hmm. So if you're going like a heavy item build, I think there's a chance you start with it, especially if you're playing like something like maybe not even a heavy item build, but like a Teklo Pounder build, right? Teklo Pounder getting an extra steam counter basically is very good.
Yes.
The Teklo Core, is that what it's called?
The
Teklo
one that
Core?
just free
that becomes a 3 steam counter item,
which is 2 more resources. No, that's insane.
So it's like 2, and 2. That's very good.
Boost. Yeah.
I think this is less splashy than the other cards we've gotten.
Yeah, this isn't like instant. I mean, this takes a little assembling. Now,
should be 10 counter in my opinion. Kind of weak right now.
I would say.
Yeah, okay.
That's your sway. I was gonna say one thing that I think some Dash players might have to be careful with is totally overloading their deck with items, or is it items or equipment? It's items.
It's items, yeah.
Because none of these block.
None of them block. They are actions, so they don't have Go Again. And yeah, they don't block. So that's why I think this one, like this paired with the BIOS update that we just went over, this includes that. It doesn't say when you play. It just says when it enters the arena. I'm pretty sure. Whenever a mechanologist item with cost 2 or less enters the arena under your control, and that's very important because if it said when a mechanologist item with cost 2 or less, when you play a mechanologist item with cost 2 or less, this card would be pretty not great because you'd have to play it, right? But if you pair this with BIOS update, it doesn't care if you've played it. It just cares that it enters the arena. So
there's a very small word on Plasma Mainline that I love, and it says you may move a Steam counter.
Oh, I didn't even. It's a choice.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that they just force you to it, and sometimes it's like, do I really need another
like
thing
even
on that?
Even a hyperdriver. Hyperdriver, when you boost, remove a Steam counter. Like you don't. Let's say you're like, I don't want to do that. I have no reason to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to keep it around for my big mech suit. I don't want it to hit the graveyard.
Right.
But you have to. So like that's a little bit like where it's like, eh. But this is a May, like you said. So you get to choose. Oh, I don't really want the extra Steam counter on that item. I want it on this item instead. Mm-hmm. Also, it's not a once per turn. So if you find ways to get multiple items in a turn,
yeah,
it goes to both of them. So I think this card's very good. I think it's less splashy, I said, but I think good deck builders will get a lot of use out of this card.
And I think that's the whole point. It's a pipeline, so it's to make resources more efficient, but it's not something that just blows up the enemy. You know.
I'll say this: every mech card that I think has been spoiled so far has been at least worth a look. It's been like super fun to look at and super fun to like theory craft around. Even Powder Keg. The gun is probably one of the better Marvel weapons that we've gotten so far.
Agreed.
So it's just been a lot of fun to like see the mech evolution, I guess, so to speak. And we have one more card. We have Urgent Delivery, which it's pretty good still, but of course it's just more. Now this works with the plasma thing again, the plasma main line.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 0 cost 4 attack. It says when this hits, you may put a mechanologist item from your hand into the arena with cost less than or equal to the number of times you've boosted this combat chain. Now, one thing to note is this doesn't have boost itself. So you have to boost into this card and have the item in your hand. So this may be a little bit more of a Johnny kind of thing where you're like, oh, I hope this hits, and then I get to do the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a 4 for 0, which is a good stat line.
Yep.
You're just finishing, a combo with that. Yeah, it's not like super insane or anything, but I have noticed the mechanologist. There's like the courier one where someone's delivering something, and then you have this character that's. I don't know if in the story they're like, that's what they're like. They're messengers or something like that, but they're always
like delivering something. I think they're a workshop, right? So if someone has an order or something.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So maybe like that. And it's urgent delivery.
Yeah, and it's a common. So like,
I wonder if there's anything in the art. I don't know. Oh, I just realized she's like on the side of a building.
Yeah, she's running like sideways.
Yeah, there's like people down here and some stuff going on.
Slow down. They're all yelling at her.
We did go over hyperdriver cycle.
So I do apologize. I'm going to use the restroom really quick while
you're fine.
Jump into a set.
We've been live for an hour and 43 minutes. Thank you all for joining. If you can, share this stream around as we get into Mech, and Brandon saying all I've ever wanted was more options, and we got that. And I agree, that's all you can want in a card game like Flesh and Blood. I mean, eternal card games where the card pool is pretty much forever until, like, even if a card Hero Living Legends out, eventually we'll get a new hero and talent, or class and talent of that type, and cards flow right back in. My cabbages. So Arachne Huntsman. While he is gone, I'll just go over the assassin. I think he is super cool. Honestly, like I think this whole deck and its play style is just great, and I think it's really smart that they didn't put this in a draftable set because it would be a nightmare. I think having to draft around Arachne Huntsman would be like terrible. So. I haven't gone over it that much. I'm just saying.
I peed as fast as I could because I didn't want to miss this. All right.
I'm just saying. I think it's really smart. All I said was I think it's really smart of LSS to not put Arachne in a draftable set, and we'll go over that. Why that's a thing.
Yeah, that would have been kind of
terrible.
like clunky and not good.
Not even clunky. I'm
Just-
saying him into other heroes would have been like unfair.
Oh,
Because you have
yeah.
a smaller deck and you're banishing cards and you.
Oh, we can mill through 40 cards real easy.
Well, it's
so.
draft, so it's 30. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Arachne Huntsman is an assassin hero. Our first one has 4 intellect, 40 health, pretty standard. It says whenever you play a card with contract, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck. You may put it on the bottom. So remember that. Anytime you play a card with contract, you basically opt your opponent's deck 1.
Yep.
You're like, look at it, give it a little peeky, just see like, hey, I want to banish that card, or we'll get it over. We'll go into some stuff. All right, so we get the young hero, which is cool. Looks a little like Gru to me, but that's fun. It just reminds me of like Gru, like his face.
Okay.
But then and like the way he's like hunched over.
Yeah.
And then Spider Bite. Assassin looks like a menace. I'm excited. Yeah, I think there was a Dice Commando video that I want to go over like real quick that I watched actually on the way here.
Oh, he just made it like today.
Yeah, and it's why now is a great time to get into Flesh and Blood, and a lot of it's centered around Assassin. And the thing is that like Assassin is really like, first of all you have to buy is Dynasty, at least to have like a decent deck with Assassin. Yep. All the Assassin cards are in Dynasty. It's a fully fledged supported hero, and it's good. Like, and it seems good, and like it's a great place to start if you're a new player, I think. And it's not overly complicated, but we'll get into all that.
Well, just based on what you were saying, at the very least, don't care what tier it is. Because I honestly don't care what tier it is.
Yep.
It looks fun,
Yep.
and it looks very assassin-y, which, if you want to dive into the flavor, you may have mentioned this in Discord, but the first thing I thought of is milling is kind of like your... And this is a very Flesh and Blood thing, but you're like bleeding them out.
Yeah, I said that.
Or
Yeah,
you're
I was
strangling
like, yeah,
them, or
it's like-
you're like straining them. So I love that flavor. But even as an assassin, you're gathering information, kind of like a spy, by opting.
They asked, did you wash your hands?
Oh, of course.
And you gotta say the
Maybe.
Asmongold
Yeah.
thing. No, don't say it.
Yeah. But no, it looks really fun. So if you're just joining, and I don't think it's gonna be that hard to play because everything's basically, we'll tell with the spoilers. But
By the way, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, if you're new and we haven't, Assassin is banishing the top cards of your opponent's deck a lot. Basically every attack does that. So it's very much a mill deck. So let's start with the dagger that they get. It's a one-handed dagger, so you're going to be able to play this in another weapon, or you can play just 2 Spider Bites, or however. So it's a once per turn action, you pay 2, attack, go again. Has piercing 1, so we talked about piercing with... I love the flavor of that, too. Like, some... You know, like in a lot of, like, media, you'll have, like, a big armored knight, and they go against, like, a little assassin guy, and they're like, oh, the knight has, like, no... Or the assassin has no use or no hope because they just have full armor,
Right,
and they're going to
it's like a
smash
wall.
them. They're going to crush them. And then they, like, usually do something like nimble, get around them, and, like,
Yeah,
shove a dagger, like, in the, like...
yeah.
creases of the armor.
So
or something.
when you were saying that, I think of there's a move in Final Fantasy XIV that Ninja has where they jump on the monster's neck and they just like impale them with the little daggers, and that's what I'm thinking right there.
Yeah, it also reminds me of like Game of Thrones, where the Viper versus the Mountain or whatever. So that's, I know you haven't seen that. So.
No, but I can imagine.
But anyway, the more important part of this card says when this hits a hero, the next time they defend with 1 or more attack action cards this turn, those cards have -1 defense while defending. That's wild. That's so much value on just one weapon. And if they block the first Spider Bite, you can just like get them again with the second one.
So that, just reading it over. So does that carry through the chain, the -1, or is that specific card they're?
So it's
blocking?
the next time. So right. So if they and it's attack action cards.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
specifically.
I see it now.
So not non-attack actions, just attack action cards. Which is like most people's decks, you know, like not every deck. So against like Dory, this is actually pretty not great. They don't have a lot of attack action cards, so
Right.
but it's the next time. So like let's say you're coming with a big 8 attack or something like that, and it doesn't even say defending a assassin card. It just says defending. So if you hit them with like a 7 damage enlightened strike, they still are like minus the 1 defense. It does, if they block with like 3 cards at once, it would be all 3 of those cards have -1
Right,
defense.
and I was going to say, not that I've built a deck yet, I don't think I immediately would play Command and Conquer in an Assassin deck, but this does make Command and Conquer a pain to block. Because
because if
it's
they're trying to block
reducing
6,
yeah,
right? So yeah, so that's Spider Bite. So I want to come back to the equipment because I think it's important to see the attacks.
yeah, no, I agree.
And the equipment works with the attacks, so there's no like context.
Right.
So we're gonna start with the big attack, right? This is first of all done by the same person who made the Dorinthia card, which is the name is escaping me, but art is amazing. This is the playmat that I was like, we need to get this playmat.
Yeah, no, that you sold me on that. It was like 5 seconds, which I think it sold out again. I imagine it did. The first time it sold out in like 2 minutes, but
So this is Leave No Witnesses. It's a 0 cost 4 assassin attack, 4 damage assassin attack. Blocks for 3, which I think every card in the assassin deck that's an assassin card blocks for 3, which is really good. It says contract. You are contracted to... So this is the new mechanic that every assassin attack has this, right? So contract, which is... Oh, the flavor. You're contracted to do this. You are contracted to banish opponent's red cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver token. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and up to 1 card in their arsenal.
Speaking of Command and Conquer,
this card is insane.
yeah, fantastic card. And again, we were just talking about how the daggers reduce the block value of the next thing. So this is coming in baseline for 4, but it's almost like a 5 because if the dagger did its job, then it's coming in even harder. And yeah, you're going to see with the rest of the spoilers, almost every assassin card says banish the top card of their deck.
Yep. So you're like milling them out as you're doing this.
As you play this, you will first look at the top card and go, do I want to move this to the bottom or not?
Yep.
Because if it's a terrible card, you want to just put it at the bottom so that when you do banish something, it's hopefully a good thing. Or did I say that right? Like, you're trying to make sure the banished card is something you want to get rid of, and they keep the...
Another thing too is that something to note in the way this class is kind of balanced. None of their attacks have go again.
Correct.
Like on the card, you have to give it go again some other way. So we're thinking Razor Reflex is going to be really powerful with this. Captain's Call could be really powerful with this. Things like that. Art of War might actually get used out of the go again keyword.
Yep. Or you got to just try to find a way to get quicken tokens somehow.
Yep.
Because if these had go again, it'd be like
the card would be
yeah,
insane.
It'd be ridiculous.
Another thing to note is that even though they don't have go again, if they somehow you get them to stay on the combat chain, you keep the combat chain open and keep attacking, the contract is forever going as long as the combat chain is open. So as long as this is still on the combat chain, let's say you play another contract next, another assassin attack, and you banish the top card. If it's a red card, even though it's not Leave No Witnesses banishing the card, you'll still trigger the Leave No Witnesses contract as long as it's still there. So I think that's really good. This card is a Command and Conquer and a mill 1 and 1. It's 0 for 4. It's a good rate. This is a 3 of an.
Oh, and the artwork I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Nope. Solid card.
Solid card. Woo. So we're gonna go on to. We saw Regicide. So this one's a little like. I think this is more for flavor.
Yeah, they want to be down on it, but like you're not putting this in your like every deck. Like clearly not doing that.
Yeah, so this is it's hard to see, but it says when this hits a royal hero, they lose the game. When this combat chain closes, you lose the game. Regicide can't be defended by cards with the same name as cards in the defending hero's banish zone. So there's an argument that you still might play this to end the game against non-royal heroes, because if you've banished enough cards, then this is unblockable, and that could kill them.
I mean, I just figured that players were worried that they weren't allowed to concede, so you can just play this and it ends the game for you, and you're just like, hey, I lost. What do you know? But
yeah, but I think this card actually might still see play. I mean, it's still a blue block 3.
Blue 3 for 3. I also I hope this is a playmat.
Oh, this
I've been
is so
saying
cool.
that a lot.
I mean, it's a promo, but
yeah,
it looks great. There's also a version that's like the throne room like lit up, but this is the promo version.
Yep.
So We're gonna go on to Plunder the Poor. By the way, every card also has like alliteration, besides
Yes.
Luminosis. So basically, all these cards are kind of gonna do the same thing. Just the only thing that's different is the contract. That's why I also think this deck is really good for new players. Reason being is that it's not complicated, right? Every card, once you understand the contract mechanic, it does the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Now, before you read that, one thing I kind of was like digging was so you have trying to remember the other ones, but it's like plunder the rich, plunder the poor,
Yeah.
plunder
Rob
like
the rich, plunder the poor.
I think the other ones are like the armed.
Annihilate the armed.
They all cater to different classes, and it caters to the cards they excel at. So
Yeah, it's very flavorful. Like you've been contracted to go after this guy.
right,
Yeah.
and these are the cards they would play. So it's a flavorful side decking method of being like, I'm going against a heavily armored opponent, so I'm going to play. I just forgot the name.
Which one?
Like annihilate the armed,
would be,
or do this.
Yeah.
The rich, I was like,
Fleece the frail.
yeah, and it's because it's 2 or less, and it's probably classes that don't rely on big card. You know.
Yeah,
big,
yeah, very much so. Nix the nimble, so it's like you are contracted to banish opponents. Reaction card, so
right.
probably really good into warrior who plays like a lot of
Yeah.
reaction cards.
There was the ninja one, which I know we're getting ahead, but like. They everything
Oh, your
for
favorite
draconic
one?
ninja or ninjas has go again,
Sack
and it's
the
like
shifty.
good luck doing that with a peg leg now, because like, but look at that ninja's like, oh, that's broken. What are you doing to me?
And we are kind of going fast through these. It's because a lot of them, we can go over like the contract effect, but they all have the same effect. When they hit the hero, banish the top card of their deck.
and they're all four attack, 3 block.
There's
zero.
there's a 0 for 4s and 1 for 5s.
Yep.
So so you go through all that. You find a way to keep the combat chain open. You're gonna play some Slay the Scholars.
Oh yeah, see,
Which,
like that's
and they go non-attack action cards, which
that'd be a wizard.
you're playing against wizard. They're all non-attack action cards. So you do that, and then you're like, oh, but what is there a big payoff? You might ask, but wait, there's more. We have Eradicate, which again, look at that art.
All right, this may be. I know a lot of people dig Shred, but the effect on this, the payoff, is going to be amazing. So
I can't wait to mill someone for like 15 on this card.
Take a quarter of your deck and throw it against the wall and be like, I'm so sorry.
Eradicate is a yellow pitch, 1 cost majestic. It's a 4 attack and blocks for 3. Has contract. It says you are contracted to banish your opponent's yellow cards. I think they had to just put something on it. They're like, what's the worst thing we can put on it? Because this card's effect is nuts.
Yeah.
But whenever you complete the contract, create a silver token. When this hits a hero, banish the top X cards of their deck, where X is the damage dealt by Eradicate.
And just really quick, you don't have to banish a yellow to get the big payoff.
No.
It's just for the extra
The payoff,
the silver token thing.
The payoff on this is the actual effect of how many cards you banish with Eradicate.
Yep.
Let's say you get someone to block this for 4 and you razor it, you still hit them for 3 and they banish 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. I think Eradicate will be banned. The effect is insane. I don't want to say it's banned. The assassin class is freaking
So here's
nuts.
the thing. I feel like every character has a card, Glistening Steelblade or Steelblade
I like to call them
Supremacy.
power cards. I think
Yeah,
it's very
every
common.
class has it, and this is going to be the card where you play it, they're like, oh my god, like I have to prepare for this, I have to use my armor.
You only have 3.
Yeah.
Right? You only have 3 in a deck. The rest of the deck is kind of like easily like blockable. I think like not having go again makes this a little less good too. I think it is very good. I'm not taking that away from the card. Bannable, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how good the assassin class actually ends up being. How maybe milling your opponent is really easy. Someone breaks a deck and it's like, oh, I literally can't do anything. Another thing though is that you are banishing cards. And so maybe you banish that Channel Mount Heroic. Maybe you banish their like.
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
I've already heard of people on Talishar where they get like their glistening steel blades banished, and they're like,
Guess I lose.
player has left the game, and I'm just like, yeah, it's going to suck when you lose certain key cards, but that's the only advantage
Yeah.
Assassin really has. Like, you know, that's the whole gimmick.
Right.
And again, with no go again, with no
And
setup.
I think what Assassin will do, and we saw this with Wizard, right? when Wizard was coming up, we saw you had to put in the Null Rune, you had to side in some more blues, maybe put in the Oasis Respites that you wouldn't normally play.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe now you have to play those defense reactions you didn't want to play. Basically, like, I feel like LSS is we're gonna make them block whether they like it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
and I'm all for it because blocking is a key mechanic in the game, and there's just one too many. You know, I've seen one too many matches where people are like, I don't care what you do to me. I'm just gonna like throw my hand at you next turn.
Just
now,
dump my hand every time.
It has to be more tactical and.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I'm for it too, and I think this card it's a great payoff. It costs 1 in a deck that doesn't like to pitch. It seems like at least has very little pitch. Maybe like you pitch a blue, you do the dagger, do some other things.
That's what I'm thinking. Pitch a blue dagger and then that.
I want to go over one card because I think it's probably like the weakest card so far. But it says this is Payday. The only reason I know this is spoiled by Rudy is because his video is really funny. He's like showing off all his cards, like Payday, whatever. But basically, it's a blue block 3. 0 cost. Says if you completed a contract this turn, create 4 silver. And you may be asking, why does everything make silver? What are we doing with all this silver, you might ask?
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 pieces of equipment we're going to go over. This is probably the main reasons you want to... Oh, before we get over that, I do want to go... You brought up Shred.
Yes.
I don't even know.
Hey!
I might get demonetized on Twitch for this, but it's worth it. Shred is raw. The most raw.
Yes, it is.
And it's really good. Target card defending an assassin attack specifically. So you can't use this, like, you can't play Command and Conquer and then defend with like 2 cards and then you're like Shred. That'd be busted.
Yes.
But target card defending an assassin attack gets -4. Now that includes things like Husk, that includes things like D-Reacts, that includes a lot of things. So
and it's -4 defense. They're not getting like -4 count. Like, it doesn't just blow up equipment or anything like that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, actually,
is that not true? Or
I wonder if how does that react with
Well, I thought when things block, they get a token or like a counter.
Yeah, but I think it says a lot of things say if they have 0 defense when the combat chain closes, then destroy it. I think that's how Temper reads. I think this might actually kill Temper cards.
All right, investors.
I need a card with Temper. What has Temper? Oh, the Mech suit. When the combat chain closes, if this defendant put a -1. When this has 0 defense, destroy it. So, I think Shred can kill items or equipment. This combat chain.
I'm
like,
not discrediting you. I would like to see like official.
I'm like pretty confident you can like shred equipment, which is wild to me. I mean, it makes sense too. You're shredding it. Shred.
Don't ban Shred. Come on. Come on. We made a mistake.
All right. So again, let's go back to the silver. Why do we want all the silver? You might ask.
Or hold on. Did you do surgical?
I did not. So that's one more contract. This one's really good because it's a blue. It does cost 2, which is like I think the most expensive attack in the.
That was the only reason I was.
It's a 4 attack, but it says you are contracted to banish your opponent's blue cards. Whenever you do that, create a silver. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. Then look at their hand. Whenever this is your banish the top card of their deck. Then look at their hand and banish a card. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
just stealing straight up.
This card is also insane.
Yeah.
And it's blue, which is great. It's great that they didn't make that a red. So it's even if it's like awkward to play for that turn, you can still pitch it, can still block with it, all that good stuff. Shred the Nitro Mech. I know you said that a while ago, but I think that if that is true, then the way that would work is the Mech has 5 defense. They block with it. It gets a -1 counter, and you shredded it for -4, so it would just shred the Mech.
Just busts it. I'm very curious about that now.
Yeah, now that we brought it up. So, all right. We've talked all about the assassin cards. They all create silver. What do we do with the silver? So we have Mask of Perdition as the majestic equipment. Another reason, by the way, why this is also a great class for beginners. Both the big equipments in this deck are in this set. Yeah. So like it's one set you have to buy. You have a helmet, you have some boots, if you happen to pull the legendaries, and all you need at that point is a chest piece and some equipment, and that chest piece can be a common until you get a tunic or something like that. Yeah. And the arms can be like
there's a lot of good
anything
common, like gloves and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mask of Perdition is in your this is Mask of Perdition. While Mask of Perdition is in your graveyard, At the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control, and if you do, equip Mask of Perdition. Hey, we have a payoff for silver, so you get to recur this infinitely.
Yep.
As long as you have silver. It has an effect though. It says attack reaction, destroy Mask of Perdition. Target assassin attack action card gains. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. So you get to banish an extra card. And then it also has Battle Worn. Cool thing about that is you can block with it, and then on your turn use the effect.
Yep.
And then you can do that over and over and over again as long as you have silver tokens.
And I mean, he's gonna talk about the other card in a sec, but when you combine all these banishing effects, there are gonna be hits where you're like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and the cards are just gonna be like, ding, and just like a whole bunch of cards are coming out. There was a card I was wondering, is it Cash Out, where you break your equipment to get money? Is there a combo where you cash out your boots and your mask, and then you can?
So
I don't know what the
people have talked about that, but it's kind of a negative, right? Because
I don't remember how much you get.
you get 1 silver.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
not quite
Yeah,
the,
so it's like a
that's
bad rate.
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
not
want to do
worth
that.
it.
So,
Okay.
Unless there's another payoff for silver, but so the mask is really good. You get to banish extra cards. It still has Battle Worn, but really, the Black Tech Whisperers is where it's kind of the linchpin of like this entire deck.
Yeah.
So again, none of the attacks had Go Again. That's important to note when we get to this card. So while Black Tech Whisperers is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control. If you do, you get to re-equip Black Tech Whisperers. Sick.
Yeah.
Great payoff for silver. Then attack reaction, destroy Black Tech Whisperers. Target assassin attack action card gains. When this hits a hero, it gains Go Again. Very important to note, they will be able to respond to that. So if they do it, they can try to bait out you hitting. Like, oh, no blocks. And you're like, okay, I'll Black Tech Whisperers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they play like a Sink Below. Let's say nothing else happens. That doesn't hit. Your Black Tech Whisperers.
Like you've already cashed in.
You've already tried it, so they're wasted. But you get to try again when you get 2 more silver.
So I have a question. So, like, what is the difference between this and, like, the Warrior Bolters, where it's like you can complete the attack and then you go, by the way, I'm giving this Go again.
Refraction Bolters that you're talking about
Yeah.
is an on-hit trigger. So you already know it hit. So it triggers the effect, and then it's a May.
So the combat is closed?
Yeah.
Or that...
The chain link is in resolution.
Okay.
So you're already after the whole like reaction. You've done damage. You say this is triggered, and then technically it triggers every time you hit with a weapon, and you're choosing whether or not to use the effect.
Okay.
Black Tech Whisperers is a reaction, so you have to use it in the reaction step before damage calculation, and then you can get screwed over if they play like a D-react on top of it or something like that. And I kind of look at that as like a flavor win, kind of, because it's like, oh, you tried to assassinate me, but I like set the trap. I set the trap or something, and I wasn't ready for it. So these also have Battle Worn. So again, one of the things that I think is really interesting is they're giving that if you are able to get enough silver through completing your contracts, through doing other things, then you get to buy these back and keep blocking with them.
Mm-hmm.
So there is probably a world where you truly are just trying to mill them out, as opposed to like killing them through damage or straight damage.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is very flavorful. I mean, there's a lot of like bounty hunter stories. I don't think you watched Mandalorian, but throughout Mandalorian, the money he gets by bounties, he repairs his gear.
Yeah, I have seen a couple episodes. So he buys like the metal, right?
Yes.
He gets like the metal that forges armor or whatever. So.
And it's kind of like that. It's like you're purchasing like repairs for your gear or something. I think it's really neat. So.
I think it's one of the coolest things they've ever done. I think kudos to Els. You know what? I wanted to bring this up. It's something I thought about.
Yep.
It's one of the coolest things I think any company's ever done in terms of releasing a set. A month ago, they're like, here's the Emperor. They brought him out in Pro Tour Leal. We're all like, we're going to Dynasty.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, like, yeah, the Emperor. We're like, I don't know how to play it, but I assume he's going to get cards that he didn't so far. I don't know if he will because spoiler, he's dead. It's been all over the marketing. But like, you know, like a month ago, like 6 weeks ago, it was all like, the Emperor this, we're going to the throne room. It's some festival or something again that they're throwing off at in Volcor, and here's all this Emperor lore and all the things we're doing, and then we hear nothing about Dynasty for like
It was a good while.
Good like
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks were just like Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started getting weapons. You know, a lot of content creators, not us, but a lot of content creators were getting,
Before like spoiler season.
yeah, they were getting weapons like, oh, and then there was even just more influence into like, oh, I can't wait to go see what's going on with the royal court and all this stuff. And then like, what was it, like a week ago before?
It was about
a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. They come out with this video, and everyone's like, oh, assassin.
Yes.
Assassin. And then it's just like, oh, by the way, he's dead.
So this whole time, they spoiled the Emperor, and I know you've heard me complaining. I'm like, the Emperor's stupid. He's not going to be played. But the thing is, I was sitting here. I had my headphones on. I wasn't really paying too much attention. And when I clicked on that video and the music started, I was like, wait a second, hold on. And I sat up straight, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
like, it was such a good video.
It's only 30 seconds long, but it starts out, and it's like they're in the throne room, and you hear the heart. You can't, well, first of all, it's a black screen. You don't know where you are. It's just a heartbeat. And then, like, it's like panning up to, like, the Imperial steps or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just see, like, you see Arachne.
Well, you see the guards, I think.
Well, you see the guards, like, on the steps or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you see Arachne. Oh, you see Regicide, by the way.
Yeah.
So you see, it's just panning up to this. And then you see him standing there with the crown in one hand, his dagger in the other hand. And then this music, like,
Oh, yeah. It was so good.
And then
who was
it just
that?
says the Emperor's dead.
Was it?
It was LSS.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it was
right. It was on
LSS.
Twitter, I think I saw it, yeah.
And then we're all just like, the Emperor's dead.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even get him. We don't even have him
And
yet.
even the hysteria in Discord, they're like, there's no way. He can't be dead. And
The fact that it was just such a bait and switch in like a good way. Not like, oh, they cheated me out of something.
Right.
It's just like, oh, we thought we were getting this, but no, it's really like, we're going hard into the story. People are dying.
Mm-hmm.
I want more people dying. That sounds like, I want just like crazy story beats. But like in a good way. I don't want them to just kill people for like,
I think,
the sake of it. But
like you just said, like if you look at that Regicide card, the art, I think that sets the tone for like, nope, people are getting messed up. Like, the festival's over, and yeah, there was a war going on with like uprising, but this is like, nope, like someone's been, stuff's happening. So
yeah, and the
I
lore that
love
they've
it.
been coming out with has been really fun to read too, with like Dromai trying to like seize control of the throne, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, everyone's like, Dromai, you need to do something, and she's like, yeah, that's great. And she's just looking at the throne like, so this is the dragon's time to
Yeah, she's like, oh, this is mine now.
Yeah.
All right, so
We need to talk about, no, you talked about the boots.
we talked about pretty much everything. This is another card, so cut to the chase. Oh, this is their one. This is a reaction. So target assassin attack action card with contract gains +3, and then it lets you opt again. So I think this card's really good too. I mean, it's a 0 cost attack reaction gains +3, and it lets you opt their deck one more time.
I really like the name of the card because there's nothing to it. It just cuts to the chase. I'm just adding damage. I like that.
Yep. Let me opt that deck one more time.
I think there is an arrow.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to some Ranger stuff.
Oh, that's right. There's a lot of
There's a lot of new Ranger stuff. So Ranger is interesting, right? I think Ranger is one of those classes. Sorry to come on. The High of Assassin. Now we have to talk about Ranger. So Ranger is one of those interesting classes where I think it's like they're just afraid of it. I think Ranger is so close to being broken with every set. And I know that's kind of a meme a little bit. Like, oh, what do you mean? But she has so many detrimental effects, and she just keeps getting more that it's like as soon as they make some way to like really guarantee that you're not going to miss an arrow, it could just be really bad in terms of like playability. Like,
well, you see that sometimes in current gameplay, like with Lexi, where certain turns pop off and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting such pressure, and then like the next turn they're like, well, I'll just pass. So if it was completely streamlined and consistent, it would probably be nuts.
Yeah, probably the best deck in the format, which is funny to say considering how Ranger has been, but really that's just been because of its inconsistencies, let alone its card power.
Right.
So they did release this Hornet Sting, which I think looks really cool. It's it's just another one. It's like I feel like they're afraid to give Rangers certain cards.
If it's an arrow, deal damage.
Yeah, you reveal the top card of your deck.
Yeah.
If it's an arrow, deal 1 damage to the attacking hero or ally. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of the deck. Now, this has Blade Break. If this had... What would be cool, I think, would be if this had Battle Worn. Because even though it would only block for 1 once, you could, like, keep doing it.
Yeah, it's like you want to
like at least like like ping them for 1, ping them for 1.
Now, is that like a Steel Blade Shunt thing where they can't block that? Like they can't interact with
well,
that?
it's 1 non-descriptive damage, like kind of like true damage, so they have to have some other way to deal with it.
Okay.
It's like Crown of Seeds could deal with it. So this trigger goes on the stack, the Crown of Seeds, it eats the damage.
I'm just asking only to give it credit to maybe in Blitz because that's dealing. That's a much more important.
It is a ping. I think the big thing is that it turns on Azalea. Or not turns on, but it makes Azalea... You get to look at the top.
Yeah.
You're like, is it an arrow that I want to dominate? Or even the Sandscour Great Bow. You're like, is it an arrow? Now you know beforehand, before you waste the resource. So
I mean, you have multiple instances of trying to make the consistency work without being busted.
Yeah. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. This card, I think, is very good. This is a Heat Seeker. It's a 1 cost 5 attack. Defense for 3 like every other arrow. It says, when this hits at the beginning of your end phase, put the top card of your deck face up in your arsenal. So now Azalea can play with New Horizon.
Yes, and I have noticed that almost, if not all of this, is very Azalea. It does not really benefit Lexi.
No, not really. Maybe Heat Seeker, but like Lexi wants the card face down in the arsenal because then she can flip it up with her ability. So, and again, we don't know what Rangers we're getting in the future. A lot of these cards could be very good in a future Ranger. Deadeye. Deadeye is also a very good card. So it says your next air attack this turn gains +3. Great from the jump. It says if it has an aim counter, it gains when this hits a hero. Look at their hand and choose a card. They discard it.
That's always just an amazing effect. That's like, I have to block this. And again, this is another yellow specialized card, or what'd you call it? Like power card?
Power card.
Where you're like, I have to block this.
Yeah, and I think giving the arrow +3, it does have to have an aim counter, so that's the only way we get aim counters right now is with the Sandscour Great Bow's effect. I assume we're going to have other ways to get aim counters, especially when we get like another Ranger. But this card, first of all, I love Rangers in like every media. That's not Flesh and Blood, because they're not so good in Flesh and Blood right now, but this guy got blowed up.
Yeah,
he got messed up.
He got wrecked.
He got dead-eyed for sure. Hemorrhage.
This guy too. Oh my god.
This guy's not having a good time. That arrow went up his like artery on his arm or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, oh no, it's down, right? And, like, down
I think it went
arm.
through his head into his hand. Is it coming down, or is it 2 different arrows?
Whether or not,
no, he's getting messed up either way.
However you feel about Ranger, we're back to Flesh and Blood. Like when I see cards like this,
a lot of Ranger cards are pretty, grotesque.
Yeah.
No, it's really good.
It's great. You'll love it. All right, it says
that's another aim counter card. Okay, I didn't realize that.
So if Hemorrhage Bore has an aim counter, it has when this hits a hero, destroy a card in their arsenal. So it's a Command and Conquer effect, which it looks like Rangers, a lot of like what they want to do is like lower that. They want to get to card advantage somehow, and a lot of it's going to be lowering your cards in either in your hand or deck.
Yes.
So.
Now, something overall with this set,
and
I've said that multiple times. There seems to be a lot of cards that are 4 for 0 or 5 for 1, and there are a lot of cards that say they have an on-hit effect of wrecking your arsenal.
Yeah.
It really seems like LSS is going, no, you need to block.
You will block.
You can't arsenal and just and never block and go for these like insane Phi combos. Like you can't just
all right,
go for that.
So that was a lot of fun talking about Ranger. Because
was that the last
that's it.
Oh,
we haven't got a lot. There's a lot missing.
Spoiled,
so now we get to talk about the best card ever. Book.
Annals of Sutcliffe. How is that two-handed?
You gotta read with both hands.
No, reading if you're gonna hit them in the head with it, I guess you have to use 2 hands. Oh, come on.
Come on.
I want to dual wield.
It would have been cool to like
freaking
have like
books.
a. Now this is another Fantasy 14 reference where it's like Red Mage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
so Red
thinking,
Mage has like the thingy they hold and then the rapier, so it
Yeah.
could have been like the book and
Mhm.
like a one-hander. No,
Yeah.
just the book. You're just reading. You're on the battlefield. You're like, I always like to imagine Flesh and Blood's like an arena, right? So it's like a gladiator arena, and you're just like, hold on, I gotta read.
Gotta flip to the right page. Chapter 3.
So what does this thing do? So it says once per turn action, no go again, by the way. Pay 3, draw a card, which I love the like flavor of that, where it's like all the book cards draw cards, like knowledge. Right?
Yes.
I get that. So,
Yeah.
so draw a card. If an attack action card and a non-attack action card were pitched this way, create a rune chant. And like,
Sorry, now.
make it make sense. Like I don't know.
Nah.
Like you have to give up 2 to +1. You get a rune chant for your trouble.
Maybe one of the employees was like, I really want a book. And they're just like, you know what? Have your book. But
The only thing I
I
can
don't
think
see
of
it.
is we're gonna get a more like mage centric reading Rainbow. We're gonna get a more mage centric like rune blade.
like a caster room blade
Like
sort
kind
of
of
thing.
like way more focused on the rune chants. This definitely could get played in like an OTK strategy. So like you're just trying to build rune chants or something. And you don't want to attack. You don't want to pop those rune chants anymore.
I think the big problem.
I don't know.
And it's a temporary thing. But while Rosetta Thorn's around, like I just cannot.
Yeah, I
imagine,
think this is one of those cards where it just screams like future design.
Mm.
We're getting like live. Oh, there you go. Someone just posted this. The full art of the.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. We're going in. We're going in. And then we got another card that probably won't be on here. It's Aether Quickening. It says deal 4 arcane damage to target hero surge. If this deals 4 damage, it gains go again.
Well, I see someone with a book, but that's a wizard.
Yeah.
Card. Okay, all right. Either way, I don't know. This card
John,
makes
this will fit perfectly into the bulk bin. Listen, all right.
no. It's a rare.
All I'm saying, you know what's worse? It'll come in cold foil probably. All I'm saying is that I think this card is one of those cards where like there's a future design in mind that it didn't fit into the like core set. That
All right.
maybe it's interesting. I'll say that. We spent too much time on it. Cryptic Crossing. This card is really interesting. I also like how they're playing into the non-attack and attack action like in a different way that Runeblades care about. But Cryptic Crossing, it's a 3-costed attack. It's a yellow pitch. It comes in for 6, blocks for 3. Says if an attack action card and a non-attack action card were pitched to play it, it has the first time this deals damage to the defending hero, they discard a card and you draw a card.
Which is bonkers advantage. It's essentially like 2 cards, but
Something really interesting about this is if you can give it arcane damage, it doesn't say hit. It just says the first time it deals damage.
oh,
So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
attach arcane to it, it would get that effect if they let the arcane hit.
There was that Arya card. It's got like the vampire looking dude on the floor, and it just like adds.
Yeah, it's you used to play with ball lightning.
Yeah.
Sting of Sorcery.
Yeah, there
Sting
you
of
go.
Sorcery. So Sting of Sorcery would add 1 arcane damage to this effect. So now they have to block the 6 damage and the arcane to not get hit by the. And again, this is another like you're getting rid of a card. Like if you fulfill the condition of playing pitching those 2 types of cards, like you're getting rid of a card.
Yeah.
So I think this card's really good. Does it need to be 6 power to pop illusionist things? I don't think so. But like here we are. I think Runeblade has enough illusionist hate, so I'm just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But let's go over Looming Doom. I think this card is really interesting. It's a blue 3-costed action aura. Has 3 defense. Says when Looming Doom enters the arena, destroy all rune chants you control and put that many Doom counters on Looming Doom. At the beginning of your end phase, remove a Doom counter from Looming Doom. If you do, deal 2 arcane damage to any target. Otherwise, destroy Looming Doom. So basically, if you can't remove any more counters, it just goes away. I think this card is really interesting. And I think the best time to play it would be like when you have like 2 or 3 rune chants.
So do you think
Not like a big amount of rune chance.
Do you think this synchronizes with the book, where you're generating?
No, I don't think anything synchronizes with
Fair
the
enough.
book.
I try to find like the, the best way to utilize something, but
No, I think what this card does is I think honestly what this card does is it says Creeper stays around longer.
okay.
Because it does 2 arcane, and so like, yeah, I think this card is basically trying to keep creepers around. And anything that says also that if you've dealt arcane this turn, but it's weird because it deals it during the end phase. So like, that doesn't really help for a lot of attacks that care about dealing arcane,
Right.
things like that. So it's interesting. I think another thing this is good for, I just thought of this, it's probably good for like control matchups. So like Oldhim, you could probably get to like 10 rune chance, and then you're going to be dealing with 20 arcane over the next 10 turns.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice investment to carry on throughout the match. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, no, and it's I just think it's really interesting, and the artwork's pretty cool. This little Lana's like just getting screwed over and over again for some reason.
Hold on, I didn't notice I saw all the front stuff. Is that just like a giant demon that's looming?
This guy
over
right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looming Doom. And I think that's it. We got Diabolic Ultimatum, but I don't know if this was spoiled a while ago, but it is a rune-bladed action, so I'll just go over it real quick. So, cost 3, it says, if an attack action card was pitched to play Diabolic Ultimatum, each hero chooses and destroys an ally they control. If a non-attack action card was pitched to play Diabolic Ultimatum, each hero chooses and destroys an aura they control. Literally, just more illusionist hate that I don't think was necessary, but here we are.
I mean, the shadow hates them. Like, I don't know. Kind of goes with it, but do you think that's going to see much play right now with
It's a sideboard card.
Yeah.
It's just a sideboard card. So that's Runeblade right now. Let's go over some Wizard stuff. So Wizard just got some interesting cards. Swell Tidings.
That's
Interesting
going to be a foil for sure.
Yeah, that card is insane. So Swell Tidings is a 2-costed non-attack action for Wizard. It says deal 5 arcane damage to target hero. Surge. If this deals more than 5 damage, create a Ponder token. So you have to buff it, and it has to hit for more than 5. You have to like let 5 of it hit, and you get, what do you get for your troubles? You get a Ponder token, which doesn't look like they've added it unless it's down
there we go.
So you get a Ponder token, and the Ponder token says at the beginning of your end phase, destroy it and draw a card. So like the best time to play this would be like, I don't even know, honestly, like at the beginning of your end phase. So if you're out of cards, what does that do for you? That gives you an arsenal card.
I was going to say, it's an arsenal. So how do you... Oh, no, I see it now. Okay. No, I think it's pretty good. I mean, just drawing a card is always...
Feels bad for AJ with all his illusionist hate. I don't get a break. I never get a break. Why does my class get hated on so much? I don't understand. But I think this card is a bit of a Johnny card in the sense that, like... I don't think you're ever going to get the Ponder token, really, with this thing. I think it's kind of expensive. It doesn't have Go Again. It's a red card. And I know that's obvious, but, like, I just don't know. If you can get multiple Ponder tokens, I mean, I guess that's not even good, because, again, Ponder tokens pop in the end phase.
Yeah,
so.
it has to trigger, so...
It's 5 damage for 2 with an effect, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess it also goes with Brainstorm. Actually, no, it doesn't, because Brainstorm says whenever you draw a card in the action phase.
Oh, specifically the action phase.
So, but anyway, Brainstorm is an interesting card. Someone spoiled this, and they gave them other cards to kind of show you how you can take use of Brainstorm. So Brainstorm is a blue 3-costed instant. It says until end of your turn, your hero gains whenever you draw a card this action phase, deal 1 arcane to any target. So that includes like
oh, because they were showing Sift
allies and stuff. So yeah, you can do Sift, and you can do like Potion of Luck, things like that. So that's a lot. Interesting. It has some reminder text. As Brainstorm itself does not have an arcane damage effect. It is not modified by arcane damage modifiers. So like if you can't like staff into this and then draw 5, and it's like 2 2 2 2 2. So yeah, just something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Brainstorm's like okay. I'm kind of like not feeling the wizard cards this time around, but I think wizard's like in a really good spot.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Anyway,
like the gods
so
want to support, and
they have a couple interesting cards. Like we've seen, this is not a new card, but Blessing of Aether is really good, and then Sap is pretty interesting. But yeah,
did you want to go over the legend?
yeah, I sure do.
Oh, okay.
Hate it? No, I'm just kidding. I love
No,
this.
no, no. Now, before we start, just for clarification, was this the sleeves they were talking about?
Yes.
Doing
Oh, I didn't
support
even think
for?
about that. Yeah. So we were wondering what the Soraya sleeves are, and there you go. It looks like it's gonna be this art, which guess I need 10 packs of those sleeves.
Yeah, Sriracha, Archangel of Knowledge.
Sriracha. All right, so what is this? This is a Light Illusionist Legendary, so kind of like the Bolton one we talked about 2 hours ago. It's a Legendary, you can only have one of it in your deck. It has Transform, so Transform, we saw that's how you make dragons with Dromai. It says Transform, target Spectral Shield you control into Soraya, Arcane Herald. Funny enough, that's a typo, it should be Soraya, Archangel of Knowledge, but... And it has Go Again. This costs 2. So you give up a Spectral Shield, and what do you get for your Transform? You get Soraya, Archangel of Knowledge, Light Illusionist Angel Ally, which, by the way, amazing looking. Like,
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. Everything about it. Now, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, there's a typo and all that." Do you think there could be some stuff with the story where like she gets involved and she's
like,
changed,
or
it
maybe
just
like
seems...
Prism thinks that's her name, and then she comes out and her name's actually the Archangel of Knowledge.
Yeah, she Googled it and she was like, "Oh, I oopity doops, sorry."
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. But so what does this do? So this is a 4/4 ally. We see dragons. If you've ever played against dragons, you kind of know. One thing to note is this doesn't have Phantasm, but what it does have is Ward 4. But before we get to that, it has a once per turn action. Pay 2, it can attack. Whenever Soraya attacks, you may banish a light card from your hero's soul. If you do, Soraya deals 1 arcane damage to any target, including other allies or anyone at the table. If you're playing like UPF or something, like any target. And then whenever Soraya deals damage, you gain that much life. So that includes the arcane, so you can get 5 life off this if they don't block. However, it has Ward 4, and while you may be saying like, oh, Ward 4, that's good, right? Block 4 damage. If you ping this in any way, so like if they ping you in any way and you have no way to block it, or you can't block or whatever, she will soak the damage, but she will die. So I think they kind of made this as a way to like, it's a legendary, right? It's supposed to be very powerful, and you're going to get at least 1 swing out of it, probably. Imagine this cold foil. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. And yeah, Brandon, this is like one of the best arts I've ever seen. The cold foil, someone had it already on Twitter, and they showed like this chess piece is like pure cold foil. This is cold foil. Like, it's amazing. So, yeah, I think this card is awesome. I think we're gonna get, first of all, Prism is legal in Blitz, so you can use it there right now. And second, we're getting a new Light Illusionist in 2023. James White confirmed we're getting a Light Illusionist and a Shadow Runeblade. I think it's a little quick, but whatever. I'm excited because Light Illusionist is honestly my favorite class in talent. So,
honestly, and I don't think it'll happen, but it would be amazing that they spoiled this, and then at Worlds they have a little preview or a teaser, and they're like, "Hey, this is why you should get excited for it." And everyone shoots confetti out, and all the haters go back to their cave, and just
I will say I'm excited for it. I mean, I know I'm very biased, and yeah, I think this is honestly like one of the best cards. I think it's very balanced. It's a one of. Once you deal with it, it's pretty much gone forever. You can remembrance it back, but whatever. Yeah, I think it's great. It's really easy to deal with as the opponent if you just hit them at all. So even if they're like, it still costs 2 to attack with it. It will have Go Again if you're Prism, but Prism is, even if we get a new Light Illusionist, they won't have Luminaris. So it'll be interesting to see, like...
Does this pitch?
It would have to be, I would imagine it does. Let's see. Yeah, it's a yellow,
Oh, there. Okay, I haven't seen that.
which makes
There.
sense. So yeah, I mean, I think it's great. It has flavor text as enlighten one, illuminate our path with your knowledge that we may prevail from dusk till dawn. Prism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. It's Prism like basically like invoking Soraya, the big, the herald of erudition,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. Maybe she'll get more. Maybe they saw how, like, maybe they want to go more towards allies with Prism. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they'll kind of follow the Dromai sort of thing, or I mean, I don't know, but no, I really like it.
I think it's really cool, and I think it's going to be really fun to play with in Blitz while we have her in Blitz, and then of course when we get that new Light Illusionist, we'll have to see how she plays. But yeah, I get where people say like, oh, I don't want my L to have.
I mean, it's very
yeah.
specific, whatever, but I know when you pull that from the pack, there's going to be like rays of light shooting out of it, so...
Well, specifically if you get this one, this is the Marvel. So it does have like a normal looking one that I'm sure is going to look like this. And then this is the Marvel where it's like cold foil.
Oh, I
full
thought...
art.
Okay.
There is a back to it, but I guess it's going to be like the dragons where like the normal dragons like kind of look not so special on the other side.
Is there another example of a card, like a legend that... It's like, I got the legend. No, I got the Marvel legend.
The Emperor.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So,
That's true.
is like that. A Marvel legend.
Or I didn't know if maybe the rainbow foil legend will have the normal, and then the cold
Yeah.
foil legend will be the Marvel, something like that.
Right.
I don't know, but the crazy thing is we will find out in like a week. A little after.
Not even tomorrow, there's going to be a box opening.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah. By Fluke and Fab Unseals, I think.
Okay.
And we'll probably get every card that we don't know about. So Phantasmal Symbiosis was spoiled today, I think. This card is very interesting in anything that's not Prism. I'm wondering how they're going to get use out of it. Defensively, I can see. But anyway, it's a yellow pitch, 1 costed Majestic, 6 attack, 3 block. When this attacks, name a card. Cards with that name are illusionist until end of turn. Now, what's very specific about that is that if you can't pop Phantasms with an illusionist card. So if you can like mind meld into your opponent and you're like, you have a Command and Conquer, right? So then you can name Command and Conquer, and now Command and Conquer will no longer pop this or any other combat attack that you put on the combat chain.
So can you? I don't know. I'm probably like way off on this, but can you? Let's say you're playing Jeremiah, and you have a like Prism Illusion in your deck. Could you play it because you're calling it an illusionist card? It's not draconic.
No,
Illusionist,
nothing like that. No.
Okay.
Basically, what this does is it does 2 things. So one, what I just said, it'll get rid of like it won't let certain cards pop Phantasm.
Okay.
So like Command and Conquer, if you think they have a Fiandel's Fighting Spirit, you would name Fiandel's Fighting Spirit, and now they can't pop Phantasm with Fiandel's Fighting Spirit.
Okay.
The other thing it does, if you're playing Prism and Blitz right now, you can name a card in your hand that isn't an illusionist attack.
Okay.
And then now it's an illusionist attack that doesn't have Phantasm, and it has Go Again from Luminaris.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool. Again, if we got this with Prism, I think it's like an auto include because you just start playing all kinds of crazy shit. Honestly, like Command and Conquer is an illusionist attack with Go Again. Neat.
Yeah.
But we don't, just in Blitz, so it'll be interesting to see if this gets picked up by Dromai. I don't think so. First time chat, when you're browsing card games and recognize
what's up, man?
Hey!
It's nice to see you. He's a huge FFTCG supporter and content creator,
Welcome.
so welcome in. No, I don't think it'll see, much play. It's... Again, another like specialized card, or I wouldn't say it's a power card, but it's yellow. They all seem to fall in yellow. Kind of makes me think of like Unified Decree, where it's very specialized and it's yellow. Unified Decree is still lost in the sea of this isn't seen play. Either way, it's a neat card. I don't think it's jumping into any decks lately.
Yeah, it's okay. We can move on. Book.
I have not seen this.
You haven't seen this at all. All right, so it's a blue aura. So you have to play it on the field. Then it's 1 cost. So at the beginning of your action phase, destroy Tome of AO, then draw a card. Ward 1. So basically, it can stop 1 damage. It is a Spectral Shield for a turn. However, if
Okay.
it does the Spectral Shield thing, then you don't get to draw the card at the start of your next turn.
Okay.
So you want to keep it alive. You want to hope it stays alive. Then you draw an extra card at the start of your turn. You do illusionist things to help kill them. It's okay. I think it's very hard to keep it around. You might have to give up cards that you don't want to give up to keep it around. It's not an instant, so like you're giving up an action point to play it.
Okay. Oh, no go again.
Yeah, no go again. So I'm kind of
Alright.
mid on it. We'll have to see if it sees play. It is a Majestic. Maybe they have something in mind for it, but as of right now, it's okay. It is 1 cost, so that's interesting. It's also an aura, illusionist aura, but it doesn't have Spectra, which I don't think anything has Spectra anymore.
It does seem like a lot of old keywords are.
I feel like this is kind of like I said, this is like the
Fading out.
referendum on like a lot of older, maybe like what they see as like problematic
Yeah.
keywords. So yeah, so we're gonna move on to Blessing of Spirits, which I think has one of the best arts I've ever
The
seen.
foiling on this is gonna be bonkers.
I love it already, but. Blessing of Spirits, 1 cost aura. Again, at the start of your turn, create 3 Spectral Shield tokens. Destroy this and create 3 Spectral Shield tokens, and has Ward 1. So basically, it is a Spectral Shield token, and then if it lives to the next turn, it pops into 3 Spectral Shield tokens. It's like
Okay.
it like bursts into 3 more Spectral Shield tokens. So
And wasn't there a card that now turns Spectral Shield tokens into like? No, that was Rune Chance. It was like anti-magic stuff.
yeah.
That's
So
not
Spectral
bad.
Shields already kind of do that. So
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah, nothing too special there. And then I think that is mostly edicts outside of Imperial Edict, which is a generic card. So Imperial Edict. By the way, I will say there's a bunch of generics on the left of Imperial Edict, and I hope we get a Command and Conquer reprint.
I think a Command and Conquer Marvel would be very exciting.
Oh, I don't even think it. For me personally, it doesn't even have to be Marvel. I just want it to be in the set.
I think it would be great. I'm a little like maybe it won't be just because it was in history packs and it's a big drive for non-new player for veteran players to do it. But I'm for it. Sure.
So Imperial Edict is a 1 cost generic legendary. Says action destroy Imperial Edict. Name a card. The named card can't be played until the start of your next turn. If you are royal, instead each opponent reveals their hand. Then you name a card, and let's go again. It's like a weird version of Chains of Eminence.
Yeah.
If you're royal, so if you're playing the Emperor, you get to look at your opponent's hand, which is always good, and then you get to name something and say you can't play it. However, they can still pitch it. So unlike Chains of Eminence, which is way more of a lockdown, but you can still name a card and say like you can't play that card.
Yeah.
Imperial Ledger, which I think is way more interesting, and a bit more of a payoff for being royal. It says action shuffle Imperial Ledger into its owner's deck, create a copper token. If you're royal, instead create a gold token. It's a 0 cost action. So it goes back into the deck. You're trying to find it again. It gets shuffled in the deck, so maybe that's that alone could be interesting enough to where like you're like stacking a bunch of blues, but you don't want the blues to be stuck together. You shuffle it in, create a copper. If you're royal, create some gold. Gold is very useful for cards like Cash In. Cash In only needs 1 gold, so then you're just like pot of greed. Draw 2. So
there is some. I mean, I think I was talking to Nick about it. I do kind of wish and maybe they'll make it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Where if you played like a merchant in CC or even Blitz or something, and it's like if you've acquired X amount of currency, you just like win the game because that's their thing. That's what merchants are doing. They're trying to get money, and merchants probably aren't going to like beat up a ninja or something like that. Yeah, and I also kind of wish assassins can't really take advantage of gold, can they? Without cash in, like if it was like you can bring back equipment with
it's silver.
gold. Yeah,
it's copper and silver, so it goes like on the around silver. It
Yeah.
doesn't like actually like. So no, it's not very good in assassin. But
it's a neat card though.
it's a neat card. And again, like UPF doesn't get a lot of love right now, especially in our local community. But I think UPF will probably eat this card up. It's a longer game. You can probably do more with gold. You can like cash out or whatever.
Yeah.
Cash out's when you, what's the one, knick-knack bric-a-brac or something like that.
Which
You get a bunch
people
of-
are speculating on.
yeah, still specking on. So, and that makes, it's really good with knick-knack. So I think that is everything. We got done in just under 3 hours.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of
We did
spoilers.
it!
So, woo!
If you've been with us the whole time, we kind of hovered between 7 to 12 viewers. I want to thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and
I didn't think I'd make it through. I had a little bit of a sore throat when I came in, but this green tea helped out a lot.
I'm glad it helped. Yeah, so I think to wrap it up, we are heading out to Worlds in 28 hours, 30 hours.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, we are going to Worlds.
Yeah.
We'll be filming some stuff at Worlds. Definitely going to take a lot of pictures, take a lot of video. We'll have a stream that Wednesday afterwards talking about Worlds.
Yeah, and no, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
If you guys do me a favor, if you haven't already, whether on your YouTube or Twitch, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all that crap because it helps us out a lot. We want to grow this channel as much as we can. We've been really trying to be as consistent. We've been here 3 Wednesdays in a row. It's a record.
Yeah, no, I've really been enjoying it.
So make sure you share this around, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really does help us out. I know it's kind of a bit of a meme and a little bit cliche, but it helps out a lot. And make sure you shop at The Haven. TheHavenTabletop.com. Save 10% on all your Flesh and Blood singles using that promo code TEAMACG. It helps us out a lot too. Lets them know that you guys are watching, you guys are hanging out and having a good time. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, we will next time we'll be recording our World. So